TikTok. It's time to rock. Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Van Halen Show on the 5150 channel. It's my pleasure to introduce to you, with me here on the top level, we've got Jimmy, we've got Tanner down below holding us up. We've got John Conklin and we've got Les Paul Gibson. You guys are awesome. Thanks, boys, for jumping on. We've got a few things to talk about, but most importantly, the epicenter of a earthquake, Jimmy. You managed to survive it?
I was going to say that it's really appropriate that the background is like Balance era Eddie because of Aftershock. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, like I said in the green room, there it wasn't that bad. Mine only lasted like 7 seconds, but you could tell there was like something, and we just had,
that's what she said.
Yeah. And like you could feel there was an aftershock like 10 minutes ago. Not too bad, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of worrisome, you know what I mean? But I don't know.
Good thing you're not in LA.
Yeah, man. No, yeah, it's not, for us it wasn't. I mean, I got to keep stuff in perspective. It wasn't that bad. Conks had a hole. Conks had a hole in his basement. I had to go in and grab his 5150.
Oh, okay.
Nice
the one with that really interesting pickup. But yeah, it's a good to
yeah.
We'll get onto that subject soon. But good to see you, John. You were saying that you felt it a little bit closer because you were nearer the epicenter. So good to see that you managed to make it back to the channel, bro.
Yeah, listen, it was a great day. It was a fun earthquake. Nobody got killed or anything like that. And the Yankees lost, so I'm in a great mood right now. The Yankees lost their home opener, so I'm happy about that in the Bronx. So all good.
Fantastic. And Les Paul, you were saying something about from where you are in relation to the earthquake, that you drive over potholes that have more effect.
Yeah, I feel the potholes more than the tremors. But we had an earthquake, about 12 years ago that was pretty significant. I was in an 8-story building, and I felt that was kind of weird.
Yeah, we do get
being in a tall building and have it shake. That was kind of.
Andrew, do you get earthquakes where you are?
We're known as the Shaky Isles. Yes.
Yeah,
so,
I thought so.
Yeah. No, we get a few of them. So. Yeah, but we're kind of used to them. But talking about earthquakes, though, if we continue that subject, I understand Tanner's creating some earthquakes with a new drum set. Tanner.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I took a lot of cleanup. I believe it's a mid-70s Ludwig Quadra. It's a Quadra Plus. It has 2 bass drums and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toms. And I don't know, I was just looking one day. I've been looking for a new drum set because I've been using a junky kind of small drum set for the longest time and really wanted to kind of up my game, especially recording wise. So I was looking on Reverb, and all of a sudden I saw that for $1,100, I think. And shipping was crazy on it, but it was from Maryland. I knew it was going to be kind of crazy, but I was still, I think even with the shipping, I was kind of doing the pricing out piece by piece, and it came with a snare drum and a bunch of stands and stuff, and it still was a pretty good deal. So I said, screw it. And yeah, it's very big. It takes up almost the whole mini 5150 studio I've got.
Extensions. He's going to be doing extensions soon.
I need storage of some sort. But yeah, it rocks. I love it. I'm actually I bought brand new heads for it. The black dot heads that Alex used, and I'm hoping to do some recordings soon. But we just got about 12 inches of snow in the last 2 days, so I don't want to walk out to the studio right now, much less sit in it. Even though I have heat, I don't want to sit in there.
Tanner, you're gonna have to build a drum room onto your studio now.
Yeah, I know.
like Alex had to. They had to.
Hey Tanner, how much does it cost to ship like a bass drum? That's got to be pretty.
A single bass drum is probably like $100. Typically, I see like a lot of. I mean, you can find a pretty good bass drum between $100, $200, and then $100 shipping. And so it's like, honestly, a lot of times it's just not very practical to order it online. So it came in 5 boxes. It was pretty comical. I got home from work and saw the boxes outside. I don't know if it'll show up.
Damn.
Oh my gosh! So those were left at your door by the.
Oh wow!
Wow.
And yeah, I guess I could show a picture of this is from the listing, but not in my studio.
Nice.
Concert toms. It's basically. I'm also a Carmine Appice fan, and that's what he used in the early like Cactus and Beck Bogert Appice days, which I love that kind of drum sound and drum playing. So it kind of does double. I mean, Alex was definitely a fan of him, so it kind of does double duty, you know, among like the Phil Collins kind of concert tom thing. And so yeah, I love it. It's I've kind of transitioned to drums more. I started on guitar, but I prefer the drum community.
Wonder why.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Less to argue about.
Well, that's the truth. What else, Jimmy? What's going on with you, man?
Me. Oh, hang on. Let me let my dog out. One sec.
Speaking of Alex, they over on the Drum History podcast, they just did 2 videos with Kurt. I believe his last name was Ekstrom, but he's like he's kind of in the Alex Van Halen groups on Facebook. But he just did 2 videos, one for the Roth era, one for the Sammy sort of era, and then everything after that era on that podcast. Both of them were about an hour, 2 hours long, just talking about every drum set Alex has ever had.
Wow.
Wow.
Sticks, heads, everything and stuff. And that channel is sweet. Like they've had guys come on and do Neil Peart and John Bonham and all those, you know, all very, very detailed kind of things. And for anyone that cares. And Kurt and I became Facebook friends recently after I saw the video, and we talk and stuff. He said he hoped that he did it justice, and I said it. I think you'd have to do an hour-long plus episode for each drum set for Alex. So you did your best.
I bet.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. I'm not much on drums, but I mean, I love Alex's kits. I mean,
yeah, it was pretty cool. There was some stuff I learned. There's a website called alexvanhalendrums.com, which recently kind of went kind of, I don't know, it doesn't work anymore. So I have to use the Wayback Machine to be able to look at it still. But that's been up on Google for about a decade now, and that's got pretty detailed pictures and sizing of the drums. So I don't know if he had anything to do with that, but I'm sure he used that. And I've done my own research and stuff into like super nerdy details down to like the stands and stuff like that. What year and what era and what the name and stuff was. But yeah.
I like to.
It's amazing how we know so much about Eddie's guitars, but we don't, you know,
That's what I want to fill in. Yeah. That's kind of my goal. And I'm glad if Kurt wasn't going to do it, I was going to do it, because I literally was like, I've been making like Word documents for each kit, just like making a list of all the stuff attached, because it was right after I saw someone do a Lars Ulrich video on that, or 2 Lars Ulrich videos on that channel. And that guy went like totally nuts over sticks and stands and what Lars wrapped his drumsticks with, and and all that stuff. So I was like, man, that would be so cool to have that for Alex. And that all of a sudden I saw that and I was like, cool, that would have been cool to be a part of, but I'm glad it happened. And
Tanner, I just want to jump in here. So I don't know anything about drumming. So you telling me that drummers nerd out on the type of tape drummers use on their drumsticks?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Lars,
Far
the guy in
out.
that video explained that Lars, I don't know if you guys know, but Lars's dad was a famous tennis player.
Tennis player. Yeah.
And Lars would wrap his sticks with tennis wrap, green tennis wrap, and then wrap the bottom of the sticks the exact same way you'd wrap the bottom of a tennis racket, with the tape on the top and the bottom, and then the kind of rubber wrap. So it was kind of, I had no idea, and that was pretty cool to learn. But I was like, man, that'd be so cool to have, so just like a point of reference for anyone that wants to know that stuff about Alex. So frequently I jump in the comments on that video, even though it's a few months old now, and just see if people comment, because there's still a lot of misinformation and stuff that I've figured out myself, and or just by watching videos or interviews or whatever, kind of. And we talked to some about it a little bit here on the channel about the 1984 stuff, and I like getting into that kind of discussion as much as we all do with Ed and his guitars and stuff.
I wish we had more info on the studio setups and things like that, though. I mean, the live one, but it's different because every album that they'd release, Eddie would do an interview with Guitar World, and he would talk about everything at that point. But there was never such a thing with Alex like that, where you knew from album to album. We had to kind of piece it together and figure it out from just photos.
Well, no one asked him. That's the thing, is that like even the Steve Rosen interview that just came out, that's freaking 5 hours long or whatever.
Right.
Steve, it wasn't about Alex really. I mean, it was about the band in general, but generally I think the point of the interview was to talk about Eddie. So, Steve, in the same way, I mean, Steve and whatever that guy's name is, Obrecht, like they asked straight up, just what do you use gear wise? So it really wasn't. Right. He really wasn't asking him, what did you use what do you use to get the sound on blah, blah album or whatever. I mean, there's pictures. I've made a gathering of 5150 studio pictures just to see there's one on the top left, and you can just see like mic stands and stuff, and just any glimpse I can get of his studio kits and stuff like that is gold to me. I mean, I can at least run with it and test it and stuff, but yeah.
Okay, so I've got a question then for you guys, and this is a perfect segue, I suppose, into one of the topics that we decided we're going to have a chat about, guys, is the upcoming Alex Van Halen book that's going to be obviously a discussion or thoughts or memories about Eddie. But do you think there'll be any gear talk, Johnny, in this book at all? Would there be any kind of no?
I don't think there will. I think the book is basically going to be a love letter to his brother, and I think at the time when he started writing this, it was probably all very fresh after Ed's death. So I think that's the whole. It's going to be like a cathartic thing for Alex, just to go back to the very beginning and just tell their whole story of their lives together growing up, coming from Holland, and a lot of stuff we already know, but I'm sure it'll delve into a lot of other stuff that we had no idea about too. So, but I don't think unfortunately, I don't think it'll have any, equipment type of stuff. I hope that when they're doing the press tour for it, I hope that Modern Drummer or somebody will get it and sit down and do a cover story with him and touch on the book, of course, talk to him about his new book, but also while they got him, really go over his history and chronology of all his, drum stuff. That would be awesome. I hope that they're planning on that. And if not, somebody should write them the editor a letter. It's sad because a lot of these magazines now, the editors are not the same guys as they were back in the day. You know what I mean? They're not Van Halen fans per se. You know what I mean? Like Guitar World, I don't know that the editor is a huge Van Halen fan, So luckily, Chris is still there waving the flag that, and obviously the cover story this month, Eddie's on the cover of Guitar World. So that's awesome, and, but, and it was nice to see that Modern Drummer did put Alex. It was the Hall of Fame, I guess, Tanner, and
Yeah.
and drum. I don't know, was it Drumeo or it was Modern Drummer that did that thing where they
Yeah,
had
it's Modern Drummer, I think.
yeah, they had a bunch of different drummers, Bizinet and what's his name from Dream Theater? Used to be in Dream Theater. What's his name?
I can't remember.
But you know, Portnoy, yeah, exactly, Portnoy, and it was great to see them. And obviously, they were hardcore Alex fans. You could see it. And you know what? A lot of people say that Alex never got his, his due because he was in the shadow of Eddie all the time. And but it's nice to see now more than ever. A lot of people are coming out and saying, you know what, he was, growing up, he was the man. Taylor Hawkins used to always say that. A picture on his wall of Bonham, Alex Van Halen, and a couple others. And it's good to see Alex is getting some, notice now, because it's crazy how good of a musician he is. And you wouldn't even know that, he was, Eddie was classically trained, but, as Alan Garber will quickly point out, Eddie couldn't read a lick of music. I don't believe it's as bad as Alan said. I believe Eddie could open it up like I can, and probably some of you guys can, and look at the notes and sit down at a piano and just kind of hammer it out. But Alex could sight read music from everything I've heard, and he could open a piece of classical music and just start playing it right there. And the only time we've ever heard him play is on that Respect the Wind. That's Alex playing the piano on that, and Eddie's playing the guitar. A lot of people don't even know that. They think it's Eddie playing the piano on that. But I would, I really feel like, he got the short end of the stick there. I don't know if he minded, but I guess because Eddie wrote the music and Alex didn't write it. But I mean, the guy is to be able to be that accomplished as a drummer and as a pianist. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's super talented,
Yeah, and he, as much as he, like, people don't think he wrote the songs or helped write the songs, he was an integral part of the of the songs. And there's a lot of stories. I mean, Alex and Eddie have both told stories of Alex correcting Eddie on fills, like guitar fills, like you played the wrong fill, or you forgot this, or you played the wrong notes or whatever, and like fist fighting over it in the studio and stuff like that. So like he had musical knowledge. He wasn't just the typical dumb drummer or whatever. And
yeah,
he had a good ear for sound as well. So
that's a great point. Great point that Alex, even though he gets credit for writing the songs as they all did, but my idea of how these songs came about would be Eddie and Alex just in there, just jamming whatever came into their mind. Alex had a drum beat, or Eddie had, a guitar lick or something like that. And then they would just, just let the tape roll. And then they'd say, hey, remember this thing? Rewind that tape from, early on, we did this really cool thing. And I think that's basically how they would take snippets of stuff. Like, I know the intro for AFU, that drum beat at the beginning, I guess that was came out of just a jam session, and they were looking for something to use that on, and it worked, perfectly on that, I guess. But it's just like, I believe all the great Van Halen songs came out of just them, the two of them just sitting in there, just jamming, you know what I mean? And then saving little pieces from here and there. Hey, let's put this piece with this piece right here, and putting songs together. And Alex was obviously a huge part in that, because we all said it's like, two heads, one brain, those two, you know what I mean? They could anticipate where they were going. And we know Eddie couldn't count very well, but Alex could. So it's just like, I think one needed the other.
Do you think then, John and Les, that Alex may go through that process and define that process that they did for us in the book? Do you think there'll be a discussion about that, and then we'll finally have that that opinion?
I think it'd be good. I think it'd be good, like if they maybe talked about their creative process, But I think, like John said, it's probably going to be like a lot of it's the story of them growing up together, being stronger than, tighter than tight, being brothers coming over here, from, another country, and growing up, tough of California, getting to play together, going to school. And I mean, maybe talking about how they came onto their instruments playing, and we all know the story, who switched what. But I think, like, with them talking about it. It's going to be like John said, it's going to be like a release, maybe like closure for, like losing his brother. But it'd be good if they talked about like how they came up with certain songs. But like, I think there'll be zero talk about gear. Like, hey, I got a drum set. Ed played it. I played it. Maybe on that, you probably won't even get the brand or anything. But yeah, no, unfortunately, no miking techniques in this. But I'm sure there'll be some really good stories about, them in the studio touring, and they fought like cats and dogs, as brothers do. So there'll probably be some stuff like that, and maybe how he pranked and the drinking contests, and maybe some Krell stories.
Well, they weren't inseparable. I mean, they weren't like twins by any means. Like if you listen to Alex's interview in '85 or whatever that Steve just put out, like Alex doesn't know, like he didn't know. He's like, I don't know what Ed likes. I don't know. Like he, to the best of his like knowledge, he could answer all the stuff he knew that he was there for. But he's like, I don't know. Like there was things he just doesn't know because he's like, I'm not Ed. Like, and so I have a feeling it's not going to be as like, like, I don't know. No, I don't know. I think it's going to be from Alex's perspective, hopefully. And, I hope we don't hear the same goddamn switching guitar and drum story over again. I hope it's not just like the same crap over again. I mean, I expect that someone that is helping him write it is gonna push him to maybe skip how Peter Parker and Uncle Ben died, and you don't need to see that for the fourth time. But I don't think I think unless it pertains to the story or whatever, I don't think there's gonna be a gear talk. Like there might be something like they pushed Ed to not use single coils in a Strat because it sounded wimpy, or something like that, where it's like it was a pivotal part of the band where they pushed each other to do something. I mean, like Ed pushed Alex to have a smaller drum set so he could actually see him in the mid '90s or whatever. Stuff like that. Like it might pertain to the story, but I don't. Alex isn't going to reveal how he makes his snare, the secret to his snare drum, because his drum tech, whatever his name is, John Douglas, already did, and it's I don't know, but yeah.
I don't have high hopes for this book. I don't have high hopes that Alex is going to do any interviews. I'd be surprised for that.
I think he will. I think he's gonna. I think if like a big outlet like the Today Show here in America invites him on, I think he will go on and talk about it. I think I think it's finally, after all these years, Alex has never spoken, and now this is his opportunity to change the course of some things and to set other things straight. I don't know if he's going to go into the whole problems with Roth and Hagar over the years. I mean, I imagine he will touch on it because, I mean, obviously he still doesn't speak to Hagar at this point, and I don't know if he speaks to Roth anymore, but I'm sure he's got it.
They laugh like pirates. Every time they talk, they laugh.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Sure, Dave, right? Except Alex hasn't spoken to him in probably 2 or 3 years now, right?
Well, I don't know. I'd be surprised if Alex, unless it's in some contract for like, I don't know, whoever the publisher is.
I'm sure
Alex
it is.
has to do something.
No promotional tour?
Probably, but
I'm sure it is, Jim.
I think it's going to be like this whole Templeman thing. Like Templeman didn't go on anybody, to promote that book.
Yeah, but
right?
I think this one's.
They had a release at least. There is a video on YouTube of like the book release with Greg and Pat, but it wasn't like. I mean, it was. I would say.
I don't think you're gonna get. I don't think you're gonna get any. I think it's just gonna be like.
He's not going on Modern Drummer.
I'm gonna read it, but I don't think it's gonna be like, okay, on Little Dreamer, we did this.
Yeah.
I think it's just gonna be like stories like, hey, one time Eddie knocked the dishes over and my mom smacked him on the butt, or I don't know, like family stuff. Which I mean, that's fine with me. I just don't think it's gonna be, from what that question that Andrew posed, where we're gonna find out about all this gear and stuff like that. It's I don't see that.
I agree, but I think that he will, in his contract with HarperCollins, which is a huge publisher. I think that they gave him probably an advance on this book, and here in the advance, you're required to promote the book So they will have their people set up, a press junket, and he's going to come around and he's going to go on any of the, the talk shows or, any, hopefully reputable ones like, CBS Sunday Morning will do a 20-minute piece on him or, something like that. Or,
Eddie Trunk.
I'm sure he will. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be like Eddie Trunk crap like that. It's going to be.
I think it's going to be Eddie Trunk. I mean,
that'd be great. That'd be great because Eddie, he'll ask him all the good questions. But
maybe he'd be on the Today Show in 1988. No, I don't see that happening.
I would bet against Eddie Trunk. Alex speaking Eddie Trunk, but I would not bet against him being on Today Show, CBS Sunday Morning, something like that. Because Harper Collins is.
Here's the thing, though. You would want him to be on Eddie Trunk. Because Eddie Trunk is going to ask him those questions that we want.
Yeah,
They're
you're
not
right.
going to ask him about he'll do the whole life thing, but he's going to ask him about Dave. He'll ask him about Dave. He might not answer, right? I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. But
what about Stern? What if he went on Stern? Stern will ask him some good stuff too.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't see him on Stern.
I take a Chris. Why am I blanking on his last name? The author.
Chris Gill.
Chris Gill. He interviewed Wolfgang in that long kind of just videoless audio interview. That I would take that over anything. I would, because any of those stupid TV show kind of interview kind of things, they're going to spend 15 minutes telling the VH1 Van Halen story, and then piece together 30-second clips of him answering questions, and I don't know. I as much as I'd love Drumeo of him, but I don't know if he's like a teacher. That's the thing, is that he's not a teacher. I don't think he could teach you how to play his own songs because, well, one, I don't think he's drumming anymore. It sounds like he's decrepit. But yeah.
As always, I think we're not going to get what we want as Van Halen fans. We would love for him to speak to these guys and get into the nitty gritty of stuff, but I think he's going to try to appeal to a large audience and try to become a bestseller. And I think they're going to go that route. They're just going to try to get him on any major outlet to talk about growing up with Eddie and changing from drums to guitar and drum, vice versa. And, that type of story, like Jimmy was saying, the more the growing up together, the family thing. I think that's basically what they've already basically said, that it's a love letter to his brother. And I think that's where it's going to focus on. But maybe at some point in the book tour, we will get at least one good interview where somebody starts to, maybe he will, talk to Modern Drummer or something like that. And that's all we can hope for. Hopefully they, they do a big press tour for it, but I guarantee you contractually he has to promote it because they're not going to give him that money, that advance, whatever they gave him, I'm sure they gave him a decent amount of money to do it. So
yeah,
I hope there's some teaser or some kind of, I hope they give us some anticipation more than just, the book cover on Amazon for 9 months to look at. I hope there's, at least like a page that they drop or something. I don't know, because frequently you can see like one page on Amazon or whatever. I already bought it on Amazon. But, I'm looking forward to read it. I'm not excited about it, but it's like apparently it's the only accurate story of Van Halen. And Greg and Chris were both on the Dave and Dave podcast or something like that. They were on, someone interviewed them recently, and they said they were asked in regards to are their stories accurate, and they were like we know that our stories are accurate. It's not like, I don't think he was talking about us. It's more just about kind of the more in regards probably to the Sammy's book and Dave's book and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. I think he has to touch on some drama with Sammy and Dave, and I don't think, maybe he completely dragged them through the mud, maybe not, but maybe he's, I don't know. Hopefully, being a religious man, he doesn't talk too much shit.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some stuff in there about it. But listen, this might be all we get, ever from anybody inside the Van Halen camp. Probably this might be it. So I just hope that we learned some things that we never knew, and hopefully somebody will get some good questions in there. I was even thinking, I was like, man, you know what? Michael Anthony's on Cameo. Instead of having him wish somebody a happy birthday, why don't we chip in and pay the $200 and ask like 5 questions? What amp setup did you use on 1984? Were you recording direct into the board, or were you using your Ampeg rig, or just like 5 questions like that?
That's the thing, is that he would know. I mean, he would probably forget a few things, and like just like Ed doesn't know stuff about Alex's gear and vice versa. Like he could recall stuff, but like what song did you play bass on 1984? Is it completely bullshit? And even if it was just like I don't want to see it in an interview, because stuff like he's always afraid to, and people like that are always afraid to say stuff, and like he was on Jeremy White a couple of years ago and stuff like that. Like they're always afraid to say reveal stuff that they're not allowed to, and I understand that, but like, oh man, it would just be.
I know, but at this point, what are you afraid of? You know what I mean? It's
I
over.
know.
It's not like they're gonna not invite you back in the band. The band is over. It's never getting back together. So
there's no going back. It's just,
So it's just like, you know what? Just tell it like it is. It's just like you see all these bands that are so forthcoming about everything now. It's like, man, they're so great with their fans. It's just like, how about you just throw us a bone? You know what I mean? We're sitting here. I'm sitting here talking about the broken coil and Eddie's pickup and stuff like that, and it's just like, because what else is there to really talk about? That because there's a lot of stuff we don't know, and it doesn't look like Don Landy will ever write a book, or I think Greg got him, and I think I'm thankful that we got what we got out of him from Greg, but I just don't know how much are we ever gonna get any unreleased music, any released material? I don't know. I don't think so.
I'd like to see Michael Anthony do a book. I mean, I always wondered,
Absolutely,
that'd be great, because he's a talkative guy, the humble guy, nice guy, and he's always there for the fans. He was always like that guy that was just great. I had a friend.
Lucid, Les.
I'm sorry.
And he's lucid still. He's
I had a friend that ran into him at Cabo Wabo and bought us dinner, did some shots with him, and he was just the greatest guy, talking about jokes, and he's talking about doing his hot sauce thing. It's right before that came out, and just said he was just the greatest guy, and took all the pictures, signed autographs, and was just the guy was like, that's the greatest night of my life. Michael Anthony. I'm like, wow, it's like a long lost friend.
Someone asked about a Van Halen story on his cameo, on Mike's cameo recently, or maybe not so recently, and he goes to tell a story about Alex, and I think it was when Alex started to quit alcohol. I think for some reason he was like
garlic.
Yeah, garlic. Yeah, that was pretty funny. He was eating garlic, and they said he stunk so bad.
Yeah, but I actually remember about a year ago, Michael Anthony actually mentioning that he had thought about writing a book. I don't know but I know he did say something about it, because obviously we'd like to read that book, but at the same time, Mike's such a nice guy that he's not going to try not to offend anybody. So would anybody even sign him for that book? Because if you're writing a book, you got to have some kind of
I think he said that on Eddie Trunk, and he did say that he's not going to spill anything. But I don't know if we don't need dirt of I don't think we want dirt of Eddie. He's behind some dumpster in the Ohio Civic Center, right? Snorting cocaine out of some. I don't, but I want to hear about
we got video of that.
How I want to hear about his life between those months or that year between Hagar or Dave and Hagar, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. Just how their relationships were. I don't know if that's really dirt. You just want to know how it was inside,
Well, clear his name a bit, because I think there's been a lot of kind of confusion over whether he played on it. People have gone as far to say he never played on any record, and it's like the more and more we hear, and the more Don Landy especially just kind of confirmed that the first song he remembers Michael not being there for the basic tracks was "I'll Wait," which kind of puts away any kind of rumors about most of the Roth era. And I was just listening to the 5150 demos or whatever they call it on YouTube there, the kind of low quality they call it demos, but I believe they are the final takes, just unedited, unmixed, and unoverdubbed or whatever. But like you can hear chit chat from Sammy and Michael and stuff like that like before the takes and stuff. So it's like I think honestly, like Balance era really screwed with Ed. I mean, like look at the pictures of him from that era. He never smiles in any. I think it was intentional. I think he was just like going through it. And I think that was when. I mean, I just listened to the Balance release audio. They were over in England, I think, and it's like a half an hour interview of them, and it's tense. It's so tense. Like you can tell that the Sammy and Michael kind of connection was happening, and then the Alex and Eddie connection was kind of happening already. And it was kind of separate. It was like, it was like they were slamming each other, like Eddie and Alex were saying, like we make the music and they do the talking and and I think that era is when Ed decided that Michael wasn't, an integral part of the band. But
and also, Eddie was getting sober, and I think that had a lot to do with a lot of stuff. Like he wasn't as loose, like certain things were coming in, not to mention management put a big bug in his ear about royalties and rights and publishing, with Ray Daniels. That just was like, that was just not good. And, and who knows, you get certain people that talk and then get you to start thinking. And, it's a shame. And not to mention those 2 chapters that were left out of the bread book that, was it chapters 19 and 20 that where it really got into the nitty gritty of Mike getting paid salary and not getting much money for the tour. It's like,
Well, if he wasn't meant for the band as much as Ed says in the 90s, then they could have replaced. Like it's not. Like, there's no question about it. It's like so that's what like really confirms in my head. It's like it's all BS. I mean, obviously Eddie started to play bass. I think probably on Balance. I just got the 88 keyboard player magazine with the Eddie interview, and there's also Michael Anthony interview and stuff. But he talks about playing he explained what basses he used on OU812. So it's like he was obviously still playing bass on OU812. So I never
believed that Michael Anthony's not on the album. I mean, I'm sure like you said, a track here or there, but
right.
I mean, come on.
It's ridiculous because you know what, and I feel even more so when they had a real producer like Andy Johns or Bruce Fairbairn, that Mike was definitely on there because I think they tracked and they always tracked live as a band. You know what I mean? Generally, for the most part of it. And I just think it's an exception when Mike didn't play on a song here or there. And a lot of it is just because, you know what, Mike went home for the night and if Eddie and Alex were, like in the 1984 era, maybe. But I got to be honest with you folks, everybody, you got all these people that worship Eddie, and Eddie was mad at Mike for leaving with Hagar. And you know what? I kind of see Eddie's point because Eddie was just diagnosed with cancer in 2001. Mike said, hey, I'm going to play with Sammy Hagar in 2002. And they felt it was a betrayal because they hated Sammy Hagar. And then it was just basically, there was no Van Halen. It was just Eddie and Alex at that point. And so they were angry at him. And then when Eddie saw all the negative blowback from fans about Wolfgang being in the band, as any father would do, you kind of got, a bug up your ass and say, you know what? He was a terrible bass player. I had to show him how to do everything because you know what? Because they're ripping on his kid. You know what I mean? So I get that. But the problem is a lot of fans take everything so literally, and whatever Eddie said is that's it. Eddie said it is the truth. Michael Anthony's a terrible bass player. He's blah blah this that, and it's not true. You know what I mean? It was just all out of anger that he said all this stuff. But the problem is this stuff takes a life of its own because people believe all this crap, and and unfortunately for Mike, he in a lot of ways he doesn't defend himself. He just kind of just lets it go, just like he did like Noel Monk that time when they David Lee Roth splashed the mashed potatoes all over him and he got up, cleaned himself off and walked out. He doesn't really, because he doesn't want to the band's legacy is already damaged. They're the most dysfunctional rock band probably ever in history. You know what I mean? And, obviously you could spread the fault around, but I guess he doesn't want to perpetuate that or keep it going. He wants to try to preserve the legacy of the band, and I give him a lot of credit for that. But first of all, I always tell people, and you guys know this, the bass playing in Van Halen is very rudimentary. It's not like Geddy Lee or anything like that. By design, it's like that because Eddie played with Alex. Usually the drummer and the bass player, obviously we know, play together. But in Van Halen, it was Eddie and Alex playing together. So the drums are usually the bottom, and then the bass, you know, in Van Halen, it was like the bass was kind of the bottom, and then Eddie and Alex would play off each other. So it served a different purpose in Van Halen, and it was very simple, the bass lines and stuff like that. That's why people saying Wolfgang's a better bass player than Michael Anthony. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. They're playing the same exact stuff. Wolf might be adding a couple more fills and things like that here and there. Nothing that Mike couldn't do or anybody couldn't do. It's really, it's not like, you know, crazy Les Claypool stuff or somebody like that playing bass in there. So I always laugh when people say, oh, Mike can't play this or can't do that, because it's all ridiculous. And to be completely honest with you, the tracks that I know that Eddie's playing bass on, Mike is a better bass player than Eddie, in my opinion. Mike approaches it as a bass player or would approach a song, where Eddie approaches it as a guitar player playing bass, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Yeah. Look at the song Without You. That's Eddie playing bass on that. That's just, it's just like a mess. You know what I mean? I mean,
it's boring. It is boring. I like all the, especially like the 2004 tracks. Like, I mean, as among them just kind of being weaker tracks in general, I just think like, you know, I don't think they gained anything from having Ed do it. I think honestly, they dogged on Sammy and Michael for their work ethic, but really it was just like, you guys have an insane work. Like, you guys spend every day in the studio. It's like, obviously they're musicians and that's what they wanted to do, but you can't expect celebrities, you know, which Sammy and Michael were celebrities and so were they, and they just decided not to. You can't expect them to show up every day, all day, and work until 2 a.m. I mean, they, especially having children. Sammy had children and stuff, and not a failing alcoholic marriage. Like, you know, it's
you know, when Sammy was having, you know, like his wife was expecting and they wanted him in the studio to finish up the tracks. It's like, come on, man, you know, you got to give the guy a break. I mean, those guys are studio rats, and they you know, if you're not as much in there, you're not dedicated, even though he was in there probably 18 hours and sleep. Who knows if he slept in there. But you know, and then it's like, hey, my son, you know, my daughter or son's being born, you got to be there for that. And then, you know, it's just, you know, nobody was, when Wolfgang was, you know, born, I'm sure Sammy wasn't begging Ed to come to the studio to work on stuff, you know. So
100%. People just gotta, I mean, take it for what it's worth. I mean, if you see the first picture I've ever seen of Michael Anthony, when it was like the youngest picture of him, he was like 14 years old, and he had a Fender Precision bass already at like 14. He wasn't a guitar player that played bass. I know his father was a professional. Was he a
trumpet player?
Trumpet player, yeah. His father was, and his mother played. You know, he came from a very musical family. His brother's musical, and Mike, I believe, played the trumpet too. I think he played the trumpet and he played the bass. I mean, so he came from a musical family, and a lot of people just like, oh, the Van Halens are the real musicians. He's not a real musician. Well, his father was a real musician. You know what I mean? His father, you know.
Yeah. He was in the studio with those guys.
If you believe that, go listen to the bass track for "I'm the One" and then come back and say that to me again. It's like, well, Eddie couldn't have done that. Straight up, Eddie couldn't have done that. And it's not. I mean, he could have. He could have done that. He could have played it. They executed it, but like his brain didn't go the way Michael's did. And I mean, it's so obvious to me when people say like, I think Michael played on, you know, whatever, all the early albums. It's like, I can hear Michael Anthony bass playing and go, that's Michael Anthony playing. And it just takes listening to it. And that's because I have all the isolated tracks and stuff like that. But in the same way, you know, it's Eddie Van Halen or Eric Johnson or Steve Vai. It's like, you can tell who's playing bass on stuff like that. It's not that hard for me to figure out, but you know, just simple fills. Like, I mean, Michael put fills and stuff, and when Eddie played bass, he didn't put fills and stuff. Because I think he looked at bass kind of like, you know, like caveman, just like it fits. It's just, you know, it's behind my guitar and the drums, and it fills the low end, play the root notes. Like, I mean, you personally, I believe Ed played bass on like Drop Dead Legs maybe, and also I'll Wait, and it's just like it literally just doubles the left hand of the synth, or just like the root notes of the chords, and it's executed pretty. I mean, anyone can play it. I think Michael might have added his own touch, especially to draw something like Drop Dead Legs. I think Michael would have added more of his own touch to it, which is why I believe it wasn't him, but I could be wrong. I just personally believe that.
It's simple that Michael Anthony was not expendable because he didn't overplay. He knew his job. Eddie should have been more. Eddie was like, we're thinking about getting Billy Sheehan. I always say that. How long do you think that would have lasted? It would have lasted 6 to 8 months or something like that, because Billy would have been stepping on Eddie, and there would have been a problem would have arose there. Mike played the part that he should have played perfectly well, and Ed should have realized that. And one thing, Michael Anthony wasn't expendable because he fit right in where his bass should have been, and it did what it was supposed to do. But his background vocals, he's one of the greatest background vocalists in the history of rock music. It's as identifiable, his voice, as Eddie's guitar, Alex's snare, David Lee Roth's train whistle scream. His background vocals are as important to Van Halen's sound as any of those other parts.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and just listen to a different kind of truth. Like Dave kind of filled the part, or I don't think Wolfgang sang at all on A Different Kind of Truth studio tracks, but Dave pretending to do kind of like Michael Anthony backing vocals was comical. I mean, his performance on that album was comical already, but adding harmony, it's part of the sound. It's part of the sound, and I always it's like people that say like Ringo was like a shitty drummer for the Beatles. It's like, what would you have preferred? Like putting Neil Peart in the Beatles, like, and they're all like, no. It's like, well, then what? Like, then what else would you have? What else do you want there? Because, like, what else would have fit? Nothing. You know, like Billy worked for Dave because it was a flashy 1986 Steve Vai show. I mean, it was just flashy, and that was the point of it. But like, I couldn't imagine.
Hey,
having
Thomas,
Billy
I'm sorry. I got a question. Me and Jimmy want to know why you broke Eddie Van Halen's pickup with the coil, man. Why would you do that? the guitar sounded great, and you had to go in there and fuck with the coil and bust it.
It's the 40th anniversary of that. Okay, I went through Getty Images, and I went through all Getty Images, every 1984 tour photo on there, and the place where the tape first appeared was April 3rd, 1984, which was just the other day, 40th anniversary, at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. So he broke it either on March 31st at Madison Square Garden or April 2nd at the Meadowlands, but there's barely any photos of the first night at the Meadowlands existing. So the first time it shows up that I know of, is April 3rd. And that pickup being broken, I still believe that, and if Alan hears this, he's going to yell at me, but I believe that he played on 1984, the Kramer 5150, possibly Panama, the whole song.
Yeah.
I believe that's in the video, obviously, came out. I think he was hiding that guitar because he didn't want to reveal it. That's why it wasn't in any of the photos from the studio that Neil Zolzauer took. I think he probably left it at the house that day just on purpose because he wasn't ready to reveal it, because he had just come out that big deal with Kramer. He was their big guy. And this was the first guitar where he basically took the Frankenstein and homogenized it into one like cool looking guitar without, pieces all screwed in everywhere like a piece of junk. This was like a finished product of the Frankenstein. And I think he was holding off on that. And I think he did use it on the album because, like I always say, if you get a new guitar, you want to play that new guitar. And obviously he liked the guitar. So I think it's on Panama. It could be on the solo for Top Jimmy. It could be on the solo for Drop Dead Legs. And it could be on House of Pain, even, maybe, or that might be the Frankie. But I do think it's on the album in one of those spots. And then after that, he broke the coil on the tour. And then so the thing we all love, a lot of people love the tone for Live Without a Net, is that broken coil pickup. So that we all love the way that sounds there. So that's that broken coil JB on Live Without a Net, on OU 812, and on Judgment Day on For Unlawful Cardinal Knowledge. That's the 5150 with that broken coil pickup. So I counted about 14 songs that it could have possibly been on. And
Conks.
Uh-huh.
there might be a cease and desist from Alan in your future here.
Alan will
I just
argue
got the
with me about
subpoena.
it.
We went from a couple of songs to 14 now. I mean, I'm not the I'm not the Supreme.
All right. Hold on. 5150 on. Did he use the 1984 on Good Enough, or did he use the 51? I know he had used that 1984 because of the A bass string. So I'm going to say,
Sure.
I don't know,
Good
did he
Enough
overdub the
was done
solo?
1984.
What's that?
Wasn't Good Enough the 1984 guitar?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, with the A bass string on it. Yeah, but I don't know if he overdubbed the solo because there's a rhythm guitar behind it.
Yeah.
Might have played on the 1984 guitar, that cool rhythm part behind it. So that might have been the 5150 Kramer on Good Enough. I'm not sure. Why Can't This Be Love? We can assume that that's the 5150 Kramer. Dreams, we can assume that it's on Dreams. I don't know if
Well, don't forget the Wildlife.
yeah, but I'm saying an official Van Halen release.
Yeah.
Release. You're right.
Oh,
You're right, though,
all right.
Les. But Best of Both Worlds, we know is a Strat, 57 Strat, but was the solo overdubbed? I think it was the 5150 Kramer for the solo, because there's a rhythm part that's played on the Strat behind that also. And then
I mean, we're talking about 5150. I've always just, I mean, I don't know. I've always just assumed that most of 5150 was a 5150.
Yeah.
Now,
You got the Steinberger,
I
you got the
think
Flying V.
it really wasn't.
Except for like Get Up and shit.
You know,
Yeah.
it really wasn't. I think that I mean, I even think the song 5150 was, am I wrong?
Flying V.
That was the Flying V.
5150 is Flying
Exactly,
V,
it's
yeah.
Flying V, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
But hey,
What's the
but on the solo, you got the tremolo.
on what?
On 5150, the solo.
yeah.
you
Yeah,
got the
right.
tremolo. So that was overdubbed.
Right, exactly. And then so that was overdubbed. So that could have been it. I think Inside is the Steinberger, the solo on that. I think it's the Steinberger. A lot of people saying now that they think Love Walks In is the Steinberger also, because there's something, I don't know if he pulls up on the bar at some point and it sounds like
when he used the Steinberger, he tended to use the vibrato. He used the arm instead of playing vibrato with his left hand,
Right.
he would use it and you can kind of hear it in certain places, which
right.
I think I think the Japanese guy on YouTube there, or sorry, on Facebook, I can't remember his name, but he's got
Mitsuya or something like that.
Yeah, he's got the
What a dude
GL2T,
he
and
is.
he was like saying some songs sound better with that, and I'd have to agree, but I don't know.
So when you think about it, the possible songs that it could be on are on 1984. It could be on the Top Jimmy solo, the Drop Dead Legs solo, Panama, and maybe House of Pain. That's it on that album. Then you go to, so that's like 4 or 5 right there. Then you go to 5150. Why Can't This Be Love? Maybe the solo for Good Enough, the solo for Dreams, and the rest of the guitar on Dreams is probably the 5150.
Yeah.
Maybe the solo on Best of Both Worlds. I don't know about Love Walks In. People saying this is Steinberger on that. 5150, the song, it could be the solo on that. And that's it on 5150. And then OU812, it's the Strat was used on Mine All Mine, but the solo is probably the 5150.
Well, also on Mine on Mine, he had 3 guitars going. I think he had 3 guitars going.
Yeah, he had a lot of the Strat is on there a lot.
Yeah, there's definitely a Strat for the D minor chord. You can hear the clean.
Yeah.
And then Love Walks In, we know is the Strat, and the solo is the Strat on that one too. That Clapton kind of solo on there.
Yeah.
So
When
that's
it's
on
low.
there. AFU, it's all over AFU. The solo for Cabo Wabo, I think, is the 5150 Kramer, because he used the 12-string, that Telecaster 12-string for Cabo Wabo. And then on the second side, Source of Infection is probably the 5150. The solo on Feel So Good is probably the 5150. Then you got Finish What You Started, which it wasn't on there. And we know it was definitely on Sucker and a 3-piece. That's it. And the Little Feat song, he didn't use it on there. So there's not that many songs. And then the only other one after that is Judgment Day. So really,
The last one.
yeah,
The last.
Yeah, he used it on Judgment Day. Yeah,
that was the last one that he
That was the first song on the album that they recorded.
right. And then, but everybody loves Live Without Annette, and he loves his sound on there, and that's definitely that broken coil pickup, you know.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so for a
Good point.
guitar that's so beloved, it really wasn't on that, that much stuff. I mean, well, you know what? Maybe it was, because 14 songs, even if it appears on that, that's, a decent amount of
And it
Of
sounds
Yeah, but I mean, the whole attraction of that guitar is that he played the shit out of it between 85, between 83 and you know,
90.
whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
I think Wildlife was all Frankenstein because Wildlife was made just after the Brian May thing, and he was playing Frankenstein at that point with the stupid neck on it. And then I think most of the wildlife happened between that and Usfest. And I think honestly, I think Frankenstein up to Usfest and 5150 after is kind of what I theorize. But all of this talk has just made me like kind of laugh because it's like people nerd out over the pickups. I mean, I nerd out over the pickups and stuff too, but the body wood and the pickups and stuff. But it's like, if that stuff mattered as much as people say, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about what guitar we think is on a track, because it would be, the differences would be enough to go, oh, that sounds like a JB. It's not, because people have differing opinions on it. So it's like, it's really funny to me that someone just posted in the Kramer 5150 group on Facebook, should I use ash or should I use basswood? And it was, a lot of comments were arguing over what was on the original, and I just said, get what's comfortable to you. And then I had this whole argument about whether tone wood matters or not, but it's really funny, because it should, the amount of talk people have about especially body wood material and stuff like that, it's like that should be more. It should be like, people should hear a 5150 and go, that's 5150 Kramer. It's obviously, because that's what it sounds like, but it just doesn't. I mean, the Steinberger and the 5150 and the Flying V all sound almost exactly the same on the 5150 album, and that's a 58 like 7-8K vintage humbucker compared to an active EMG, like. And they sound a little bit, obviously the EMG sounds a little bit more like dynamicless as EMGs do, but in general, it's like, doesn't sound it doesn't sound like as different as like a single coil to a hot humbucker or whatever. As
it's like a steak smothered with steak sauce. You know what I mean? It's just like it's great by itself, but then he smothered it with that harmonizer and everything like that, and it got out of control, obviously, on 5150. And then OU812, I guess, was the H3000. But OU812, I think, is a more true representation of the 5150 pickup on that album. I think it definitely is.
I read in the Keyboard World magazine that we all know that, I think, from the Unlawful Carnal Knowledge album was the first time he did harmonizer before pre-cabinet, the three cabinets, but he said that he tried the rack before, like on what song? Black and Blue. One of the songs on OU812 had his rack on it, but before, and the rest of the album and before all of the harmonizer and reverb and stuff like that, that was all a post-production effect.
That's interesting. I wonder if that was because, like, Joe Sumo always points out to me too, that if you listen to OU812, like the song "Sucker in a Three-Piece" sounds a lot more gain on it than like Black and Blue.
Well, they weren't done the album when he did the interview, because it was 88. I think he said, we've done 13 tracks, and they might make some make it, some might not. But I think I was just talking to Alan about it the other day, and I think a big reason why like Live Without a Net sounds different to 5150, the album, is because all of the effects are happening pre-speaker, which in my opinion dull, not in a bad way, but dulls the sound. It cuts some high end and stuff, and just in general just makes it sound a little bit more compressed, I think. And I kind of like, it's kind of more of a creamy sound than like 5150 album, like, Get Up, listen to the beginning of Get Up. It's like, it's hairy, it's very trebly and stuff like that, compared to like Live Without a Net, where it's kind of, a little subtle. And I think when you listen to most of OU812, it sounds pretty present and bright, but like that, I think it was Black and Blue was the song that he said, I tried my rack. And that was the first time I've put my rack, in my effects or whatever during recording, rather than
Right.
post to, and but like yeah, there was some songs that hadn't even been. He mentioned a few songs in that interview, but like "Sucker in a Three Piece" wasn't mentioned yet, and you know, "Feels So Good" wasn't mentioned, and then, or maybe it was, but
Sucker
wasn't
Three
done
Piece
yet.
has a certain kind of like really upper mid high gain. It's just
Yes,
like
definitely.
it's almost like it's a re-EQ'd. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of gain.
I agree. It's and Joe pointed that out, and it's like that. It sounds different than the guitar in any other song on the album, especially
Yeah.
coming from Black and Blue into that. It just sounds like it was he using a Soldano already? We know he wasn't, but I mean, it was like
Yeah.
it was noticeably different on that song. So I
Sure.
don't know what was going on there, but
Yeah, it's like a very it's a very tight high gain sound. It's weird. It's not like a Metallica, but it's an upper mid. It's real tight and focused. It's very focused.
Yeah, I
Neat
like
sound.
that. I like the distortion on that. There's a lot of distortion, but it's still like clean. But then like I personally kind of cap out at like balance, because I think anything after that, once you get into like actual EVH branded 5150 recordings, I personally I don't. It's so like, I mean, among the poor mixing in a different kind of truth, like I just despise the distortion and kind of amp character on that album. It's just
yeah,
That was a 50 watt.
everyone can sound. The thing is that like I love early Van Halen. I mean, an early extent into the 90s now for me, but like I like that because it's hard to get that sound. It's hard to approximate, but with like different kind of truth, and even like, you know, the 2000s kind of tracks, like it's easy to get that stuff. It's easy to sound like that because you can just go by exactly what he was using.
Yeah, if you want the sound of the first 6 albums, I'm like, you just got to grab a Plexi.
yeah, exactly.
There's 2 ways about it.
It's true. You know, Joe Satriani had that amp built for him for that tour. You heard about that?
The Dragon.
Yeah, the Dragon, right? It's supposed to be
Yeah, it
able
looks cool.
to do. It's supposed to do everything,
Well,
right?
I agree.
it's
Alan had a
supposed to get
comment
that-
about it. Alan had a comment about it that I kind of agreed with. And it's like, why is he trying to get early Van Halen tones when they're not playing early Van Halen songs?
I know. I don't.
It's a good point.
Maybe he started doing it before, like, because personally, I think that they actually were smart with the set list. I mean, I don't even think Sammy's allowed to play a lot of the songs that they played on Stern, but like, I think they played it really safe when it came to like the early stuff, because I think objectively everything, all the Sammy era stuff is just easier to play. And I think, you know, it takes a lot of feel. I think there's still a lot of Ed's fingerprint in it, but like I just think it's objectively just easier to kind of play along to. So I think it's smart for them to stick to, you know, venturing into maybe Ain't Talking About Love or whatever, but you know, everyone can play that.
Hey guys, Andrew, I just sent you a message. I don't know if you got it, but I found a box of Van Halen stuff. Actually, my wife found it that I haven't seen in like probably 30 years. So here's a little show and tell. Here's the OU812 tour book. If you guys want to.
Whoa, look at that.
We did the 5150 a few months ago, but this was
Is
in
that the
box.
Beatles?
Yeah, right. So check
Beat
it
the
out.
Beatles?
Here it is. It says live.
Yeah.
And can you see that? Let's see.
Look at that broken pickup, man.
There you go, Brady.
Right there.
So that's the first picture, and then let's see what else we got. We
And his guitar still didn't look like shit yet
got Eddie,
from the video. Yeah.
and then we got
That's cool. I never saw that tour book before.
different shots. See, there's a jumping shot with those colorful outfits.
Yeah, he had those jackets.
And
Nice.
this from the video,
Yeah.
and there he is behind
When
the
it's
keyboard.
love.
Behind the keyboard for When It's Love, right there.
Is that his Oberheim or
That's the Kurzweil.
the
Kurzweil.
Kurzweil? Okay, nice.
Yeah. And
The
then-
Kurz-
Kurzweil was just the trigger, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
It had
okay.
a broken key on that Kurzweil too. Did you ever notice that?
Yeah.
I heard. Yeah.
All right, and here's Eddie and Sammy kind of page here where it's
Oh, he's got the nice man bun.
My God, Sammy's leggings on the '89 tour are. Every time I watch those videos, I was like, "Who let him wear that?"
Michael Bolton was
nice
inspired.
jacket.
by it,
Oh
wasn't
my
he?
Lord!
Red Rocker. There you go.
I need to see some. We need to see some of those at EVH Con.
Some tight red pants.
Jimmy,
that jacket.
Jimmy, that's you next year, Jimmy.
I want to wear that. I want that jacket, man.
Maybe Steve Nowicki will wear them next year.
Yeah, right.
Oh, he's got Sammy's got the shirt like Alex used to wear.
Which
Yeah.
one?
The prison
Stripe.
stripe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to look and see if I make sure I'm getting all these shots in here.
Nice.
You're doing well. You're doing well, bro.
That's cool. Is Sammy playing a telly there?
That's his. Yeah. Oh, down there. That's that 12. That was a 12 string. Also, I think he did that for Eagles Fly or something. It has
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
See the weird headstock on it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a
similar to like
yeah.
the one Eddie used in the studio on Cabo Wabo, the song.
Yeah.
Okay, we've seen that shot.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's like a backup guitar to the Kramer 5150. That one. It's a different one. And so we've all seen that one, right?
Yeah, Sammy's. Yeah.
And let's see what else we got here. Another band shot from the video from When It's Love.
Yeah.
Love that pick. Love that.
Yeah, that's a good shot.
Good video
Cool
too.
video.
There's a
Cool video.
with his Tabasco, base, Tabasco sauce base. See it there?
Yeah, that's sweet.
The JD. Yep.
Yeah. There's the Jack Daniels base. There's is that the best of both worlds right there.
Yep.
This is when
Doing that old Cabo Wabo.
when they still all liked each other. And then here's another band page before we get to Alex. There's Alex's Octabands.
Yeah, I love those. When did you get those? In 80, 82?
I think so. That's the first
Yeah.
time. It might be
No,
early.
he had them on '79 tour.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
did he?
He had the clear ones on '79 tour, and then various kind of like extras throughout the years, and then '84 was the mirror squares ones, and then obviously '86 was the big setup with the clear ones.
Looked like Mike was playing that Aria Pro bass. Remember Aria Pro?
Yeah, that black one.
Yeah, he had a white one too. He said he
did have a white one.
he was one of the early.
He had a white one on Live Without a Net.
You're right, the Aria, right? Yeah, but he said he traded. He had an early Spectre NS2, but he traded it to the bass player from Loverboy for a Steinberger. He said, I think it was the other way around, maybe. I think Mike had the Steinberg and he traded it to the bass player from Loverboy for the NS2, an early one of.
He had an NS1. He had an NS1. Yes. Michael was one of the first. He was super early on the Spectre bass kind of team.
John, do you remember when Michael was using boogies for a bit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, he was using boogies for a short while. For
Here's a
amps, I was like,
shot.
wow, he's using Mesa boogie?
Yeah, I just saw an ad from that actually the other day. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's weird.
This was the remember he had the like 5 kits or 4 kits, Alex, on a North drum kit. Remember North?
You had the Simmons, you had the regular kind of kit.
And it would spin around and go up 18 feet in the air, the whole thing. And then here's the final page is Alex with the OU812 tank top on. And there's Eddie. And then there's Mike.
That's a cool shot of Ed.
Yeah,
He looks pissed off.
And Sam. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
can you believe in the future I'm going to audition Mitch Malloy? And that's the look on his face.
Oh, and then there's the big picture there, Alex. And then Eddie with that bizarre jacket on.
Yeah.
Mike. And
That
Sam.
bandana, man, it's so nice, so mid-80s.
It really is, right? And then the final page is the big ending of the show.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I saw him at Monsters Rock that year. That was great.
Yeah, and then the back of it is OU812.
Wow, I've never seen that. That's cool.
No,
That's
no
right.
why.
And in the same box, Andrew, you'll appreciate this. Les Paul signed this for me.
Oh, dude.
Wow.
That is
Les
really
Paul
cool.
and Mary Ford. It's their
I
greatest
remember
hits.
signing that.
Greatest hits on cassette. I still have them in there. I never even.
Dude.
Yeah.
That is really, really cool.
Yeah. So I got that signed. That was kind of cool. I forgot about that.
That's really that's pretty special.
Van Halen bust into the top 10. This is like 1988, May or June of 1988, in the New York Post, talking about how they bust into the top 10 with their OU812. Joins 4 other heavies in the top 10 this week. Poison's Open Up and Say Ah is number 2. Def Leppard's Hysteria is number 3. Savage Amusement with the Scorpions is number 7, and Appetite for Destruction from Guns N' Roses is number 9. So
wow.
Van Halen was number 1, OU812 that week in,
That's badass.
Wow.
in Billboard. So I saved that.
That's pretty cool.
Then I found I have like every issue of this. Remember the inside?
Yes, I had. I can't find my issues. I had no
every
idea.
issue now.
Yeah. So this must have been when after Hagar left and they're figuring.
Yeah,
trying to
which
figure out
was
what
gonna-
to do next.
That's the magazine I bought to get the pictures of the 5150 and 85 there. I scan them in because there was only crappy pictures on the internet.
Here's Sharon. So it had to be after Sharon. Oh, maybe this is after Gary left. Maybe that's why the question mark. It was one of the last issues of this magazine.
Yeah.
You know? But these had some great photos, and sometimes
that's really cool.
see them on eBay. There's a lot of great photos that you've never seen before and stuff like that.
That's the first time I saw the picture with the dinosaur. That's a cool shot.
A lot of the club days photos that have made their way around the internet are actually from that magazine, scanned in like really poorly. I saw a bunch on my magazine and I was like, what the hell? Like, this is really good quality. I got to scan this in.
Yeah, there are some good ones in there. And let's see, I think I have another issue in here. I mean, they used to have all the stuff on here that you could buy.
Sweet.
And let's see.
That was before the whole internet thing, man.
Yeah. That was like the time of the Van Halen mailing list, Jim, right?
Yeah.
I think it was way before that. Because I remember like seeing that in the back of a magazine.
When did the
like
first
Star
issue?
World.
Was that the first issue of that?
This was issue number 14.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember like, subscribing to it and thinking that like it's a scam and it's like never gonna come.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I think that was way before the internet. But then again, around like 98, that's kind of like the beginning of the internet for me. Like when I kind of got on around like
all the chat rooms and shit.
Like some of these pictures I've never really even seen before. Look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Roth with the leather jacket. Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen that.
When did Crazy from the Heat come out?
Oh, the book?
Yeah.
Or the album?
99?
The book.
Was that 99?
Because I have issue 8 and it mentions Roth's book on the front first page.
Wow, I got a bunch of like, look at this. I didn't even realize all these are in here.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
97.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's a good one. I like that picture.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, you're right. There are a lot of great pictures in these things, man. I haven't seen these in years. God.
I love Alex's kit from the Sharon tour and the failed 2004 tour. Those, I think Alex's coolest kits was on that 2004 tour that didn't last long.
I have that poster.
Here's all the original colors for the Wolfgang. Remember?
Yep, I had black.
I had the ivory. I still have that ivory one.
Nice.
I ordered ivory and purple, and they got me. They sent me the black one.
I ordered red, and they sent me black. I was pissed.
Really?
I was like,
Well,
damn it.
For me, there's a whole story with that black one that is kind of long.
Yeah.
But
We know it's funny. So I order a red one. I get a black one, and I'm not going to turn it. It plays great. I'm like, I'll buy it. And it was $1,300. And
Les and I talk about the purple. I had purple on the order, and eventually it came. It was a purple quilt. I ordered a purple. When I walked in there, I ordered 2 of them. I ordered a white one, and I ordered a purple quilt because I worked like across the street from this Daddy's Junkie Music in Stanford. Anyway, Finally, the purple came in, and it was really disappointing, man. People could not do quilts. They looked
Dude,
like
those quilts were the worst. They were
the
embarrassing. I can't believe they called that a quilt.
They were embarrassing. The quilts
Dude,
were
was
just
disgusting.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Here was the first one, the first catalog thing for it. And
Yes.
there's
Yeah.
the colors on the back,
Yeah.
the original 6 colors. And then
I'll
the
tell you
inside.
what-
This is
I'll
what's
tell you what, since we're talking about the Wolfgangs, man, I remember, I mean, at that point I was so into, you know,
Had that
I mean,
poster.
obviously I was into Eddie, but
I had the red poster too.
I like the idea that Ed was going somewhere else, but man, I kind of like the Wolfgangs, but not 100%. I ended up I've had a lot of them, but I could never really, I don't know, I can't say I ever really bonded with them. You know what I mean?
I like the necks. They were big. They were big. The pickups were cool.
I look back now at that guitar, the neck is so thick on it.
Yeah, they were big necks. They were fat, and it had a 15-inch radius straight through like an Ibanez. So they were really fast. They were very flat, and you could play lead all over. They were great, but I can't believe that those quilts looked like shit. They were really embarrassing.
Oh, there was I had a blue flame top that was beautiful. The flames,
flames were great.
The quilts were just
garbage.
like, this is just embarrassing.
Okay, so I order a red guitar, PV. They send me a black one. I'm like, cool, whatever. Nice.
Wow.
Look at that. And then 3 months later, my guitar guy goes, "Hey, your red guitar came in." I'm like, "My red PV?" And then they had a oh man, look at that.
I have the plastic I even saved from the album, I guess.
Damn.
Damn.
What a maniac.
And here's Jim. Here's hey Christopher, I saw that on there. This is Jimmy, this is the Meadowlands, one of the shows in '86. This is one that you and I were
Is that from your Kodak, dude?
Oh, the giant stadium?
No, that's indoors. It's the 5150 tour in the Meadowlands, Brendan Byrne Arena.
Wait, is that August 1st?
I don't know what night it was. All I know is
you got to scan that and send it to me.
you really can't see that.
I thought you meant that was Giant Stadium '88.
Dude,
Oh,
why didn't you fucking use your iPhone?
I know. I think I left it in the
man.
car.
Zoom in.
Use your goddamn
Oh,
iPhone.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can tell it's 5150 because of the
Yeah, see
shirt.
the shirt?
Yeah, look at those shirts.
Yeah.
Look at that.
If
Dude, those Kodaks took the blurriest fucking pictures. You should have zoomed in.
But Conch, you were saying that you went there a few nights and you were sitting in different areas, right?
One night I got a picture of Michael Anthony. One night I was really close up there. And dude, I don't know. I don't remember if they wore the Jets jerseys every night, but I know it was the night that Eddie had the Mark Gastineau jersey or something like that on there. I forget. But I mean, it was obviously Leslie West came out. I think every night there.
Yeah,
I saw him there. I'm not sure if I think I saw 3 out of 4 nights or 4 out of. I'm not even sure. It was so long ago.
I think there was only 4 nights, so you must have seen 3 out of 4.
Yeah, I think I might have seen 3, but that was the worst seats I think I had that night there. But I don't know if you guys remember this.
Yeah,
man. I got that.
That was the NAMM.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
Yeah, and
wow.
that really didn't go well for Eddie because these guys here, it's just like he had a rough time there. And I think this is the article in here that the interviewer really kills Eddie, like tears.
Reshnikov?
You got it, Matt.
Yeah,
Resnick.
Matt, man, he hated Matt after that.
Yeah, so I wrote a letter because I was so pissed off at how he just tore Eddie apart. And they printed it in like the next issue of Musician, my letter. And in the same issue that I was in, like shitting on Resnick, Ed Leffler, their manager, went off on him. And I don't even want to tell you what he said,
I think he threatened him.
Yeah, he called him because I guess Resnick was Jewish and so was Ed Leffler. But Ed Leffler called him yeah. And
then,
it was printed in the art in the letters. They had it in that section. Ed Leffler was furious about how he, it really was. He was like,
yeah, he hated.
He went out of his way to like just totally crap on Eddie.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I have all those downstairs, man. Yeah,
That's so cool. I wish I would have. I can't
It's
find mine. I
amazing
need to
because
find them.
there's like you said, there's so many photos in there now that you're saying it that you look back on and it's like, man, these are crazy pictures that we've probably never seen before. You know, like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great shit.
That's a cool shot right there. Yeah, man.
Remember they had him on the set of the video with the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I was like, what the hell? That's the first time I saw that picture. I'm like, what the hell's going on there?
It's pretty amazing. I mean, there's so many unbelievable shots in here that
Oh,
I mean, if you zoom in on a lot of these shots, these are like
Yeah.
that shot right there where he's got the shark is so iconic, man.
Yeah.
that's a sick shot, isn't it?
That's just like, hello.
I think everyone should own as much as I don't really like Lowe's anymore, I think everyone should own the Eddie Van Halen book and the Van Halen book because those damn books have amazing quality photos.
Great stuff.
I'm always looking at those books for reference. I think everyone else should one sec, go grab it.
I lifted that picture of the shark for one of my guitar picks.
Brilliant.
Everyone should get the guitar man.
No, I'm gonna get a cease and desist from Slows.
Yes, you will. You will. And by default, our channel here too, bro.
Dude, I can feel him typing up the cease and desist.
You're canceled.
You're canceled. Yeah.
Slows.
Is that Mike Sobleski?
Nobody's making any money off of it, Slows.
Nice.
Yeah, these are pretty amazing. These shots. Wow.
You know what's funny? Conks, we were talking about that one time. One thing, remember on Entertainment Tonight when Eddie, they had him with the guitar on the show and he got caught, he was paying off that girl.
Oh yeah.
That's one thing that they'll never air again.
No, I'm sure they won't.
No. And we've got no idea why he was paying her.
Yeah, no, right. Wow.
Yeah, that one's in the Lowe's book at the end. I like that one.
And that's the first one right there. That's the first issue right there. That's the first issue right there. No. If you go down below, they got them in order. Les was asking about the first issue.
Yeah, actually, this one says issue 13.
Yeah, that's the first issue right there where it looks.
Okay, so those pictures right there, I think that'll be on the cover of the book.
They already released the cover of the book on Amazon, I think.
Okay.
It's just a picture of Ed and Al, I think.
Okay.
I
thought that would be a good cover of them as kids.
Yeah.
Damn.
And that's pretty much it from this pile, but I'm sure there's more boxes everywhere in this house. So that's show and tell for tonight.
All right, man. Nice job, Conks.
Here's my show and tell.
Bocephus, dude.
Oh yeah, man. Bocephus.
Dude, you gotta shave your head like you gotta shave your head now.
Yeah, like that mohawk or whatever he had.
Yeah.
Oh, even in the magazine.
Hey, Tanner, are you full Bocephus mode?
I'm in Bocephus mode right now.
Are we talking? Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing about this picture is that
so dope.
Imagine that that was such a shock to see that guitar.
Yes.
Now we're used to it.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're used to it.
Because it was is that a telly?
When you first saw it, you're like, you never saw a shape like that.
Nope.
Correct.
And he was always, he was always kind of associated with super strats. So when you saw that, and it has two pickups, my mind was blown.
I know.
And then I was, Les knows this story. I walked into a music store very, down the street from here, once, and I was looking to buy a Guitar World because I was gonna go relieve my dad. At that time, my folks had a food store, restaurant kind of, and I wanted to get a Guitar World to go read because I was gonna go relieve my dad. He was gonna go home, And I walked in, and there was this aqua blue Ernie ball. Like,
Oh God.
I walked in, wanting to buy a magazine. I walked out with that guitar. Yeah, man.
This one must have got wet. The pages are stuck together.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
That's another season of this.
$900 just for talking about it.
And I got a little excerpt here from this is the Van Halen news desk, a Sammy Hagar interview with Guitar World. Eddie said he told you if you didn't show up at 51 Studios by 6 o'clock the next day to work on the song, you shouldn't bother coming back. Hagar, Eddie did tell me that, all right. And no, I did not show up the next day at the studio like he demanded. My wife had just gone through a difficult birth. I was staying at home to take care of her, period. He had the audacity to tell me on the phone that if I didn't show up in LA to re-sing between us two, he was going to assume that I had quit the band and that they were going to be looking at their options. Something along those lines. Eddie was pissed because I wouldn't re-sing a line that he didn't like. This cat was trying to get me to quit Van Halen that day. I called up Ray Daniels and told him I wasn't going to fly down to LA from San Francisco. I said, Ray, I'm not going anywhere. We wouldn't be even working in the studio anyway. And I don't like the fact that Eddie still doesn't think the song is right when I think it is. That's the sad state of affairs of my relationship with Eddie had fallen into. He didn't care that my wife was home recuperating from a difficult birth. All he cared about was a damn line in a song that he didn't think sounded good. Believe me, Eddie knew what he was doing when he issued me that ultimatum. He wanted me to quit Van Halen right then and there, and I didn't do it. Apparently, Alex was ready. Yeah. Were there any repercussions from your actions? At the band meeting on May 1st, I almost got into a fist fight with Alex when he jumped up and said, you effing insulted my brother. He told me to come down here. He told you to come down here and you didn't come, just to show your power and pull this trip on him. When I now think back to those three, Eddie, Alex, and Ray, sitting in the studio looking at the clock to see if I'd show up, I know they had already discussed the return of David Lee Roth to the band. I know they had already thought Gary Sharon as a spare part in case something unexpected happened. In fact, I know for a fact that Eddie had already been in the studio with Sass Jordan, telling her if she didn't have tits, that she would be the new lead singer in Van Halen.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time I heard about Sass Jordan. I'm like, what? They consider her?
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, but yeah, that's a pretty good box, huh?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
man,
Brian.
you're stuck in there. Yeah, you. I mean, no woman would have worked in Van Halen. Come on.
No, I don't think so. Although, who was
Not
that?
more than 15 minutes.
The other day, did you ever hear Patti Smythe sing "Whole Lot of Love" with David Letterman's band? Yeah, you should Google it. She does a real good job on it, but I agree with you. It wouldn't have worked long term.
Yeah.
You know, before
Eddie only wanted her in the band for one reason.
If you thought "When It's Love" was bad, you can imagine what would have been, coming out of them a couple years later.
Well, what it sounded that band that Ed produced.
Yeah, Private Life.
Private Life.
Yeah.
That just sounded like Van Halen with what's her name singing there? I can't remember. But I was just looking at that the other day.
Yeah, I'm not too fond of the drummer. Now, Sass Jordan, she's also.
We know who was
Australian, isn't she?
I thought she was British. She might have been Australian. I don't know.
Yeah. I know she's from. Yeah, I thought she's.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but that's it.
I say that Private Life sounds like Van Halen if Pat Benatar sang.
There you go.
Nice.
When I see pictures of Ed and Val out somewhere, right? It kind of triggers this thing where they were on that MTV thing, and Ed's like just giving one word answers because he's kind of goofy, he's being Ed, and Valerie's like fuming, like telling him to answer, like a actor would or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like I'm trying. You can hear him. He's like, I'm trying.
Yeah, I think they were a little pissed. He was a little pissed off, or she was. You're right that time.
Yeah.
I think that was a weird transition period too. I think because at that point, I don't think Ed knew if Roth was in or out. So because they were asking like, are you going to do another album? And he's like, I want to. And I think that was confirmed by the Alex interview that just came out. Was that like for a long time they were like, you know, and I think Michael said like years ago that like half of the 5150 tracks existed already. And he said that he has versions of them with Roth on them. You know, I think songs like 5150 and probably Summer Nights and maybe Get Up or something like that. I bet you songs like that were probably done with Roth at one point, but he just, I think, and Alex said that he's like, I think Alex said like, if Roth just said like, let me take a break so I can do my movie thing, they would have been okay. They would have been okay with it.
From like all these years of hearing about this, it really seems like it was just a misunderstanding. Like Tanner just said, like Dave kind of thought that they were going to be taking a break, and then those guys thought that they weren't. And it just seemed like it just felt
poor
like
management.
Yeah,
You're
it just
right.
They
didn't have a mediator like they did like later on that would like kind of like calm. And I think Ted was kind of honestly kind of the mediator, and he just couldn't pull enough strings with Ed than as later on. But like I think Ted had a lot of influence on he said, Ted said in his book that he thought that if they just took a break as a band that they would have started back up with Roth in a couple of years. But so because Ed just wanted to work and work on the next album, I think they just had to fill it, and Roth wasn't there.
I think Ted was kind of blindsided because he said, they fight all the time. It'll blow over in a couple months and they'll get back to work. But then when Ted read somewhere, I think it might have been in Greg's book that Sammy was working with them, then Ted was like, then he got concerned because it was like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
this could be a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people think that Sammy was kind of an opportunist in a way, because you know what always bothered me, and I'm sure it bothered everybody out there, when Sammy joined the band on that MTV special and all these things, he would try to make it sound like he was as big as them. We talked about this before.
I know.
I took a pay cut. Remember, he said I took a pay cut.
I know. It's bullshit.
I mean, it wasn't even the same level. He was like B-list, you know. I mean, they were
A DOA was not even near the album 84 was.
No, I mean, and
it was a good album, but
when he would always try to make himself like equal with them and a lot, like, you know, there's that guy on Facebook now that always Ricky Lashes. I don't know if you see him. Like,
yeah.
we only had number one albums with Sammy and blah 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 blah. You know, it's like give me a break, dude. It's just like, and he tried. He annoyed me so much with that he said that Sammy was selling out 2 nights in the same places that they were playing.
Yeah.
So then I went through every night that he played at the same. There were like 3 or 4 gigs at the same place. And they sold out multiple nights and like multiple places. Like, I mean, Reunion Arena in Dallas, like 4 nights or something. It's it was like, you know, it's all semantics. Like you could twist it which way you want.
Album sales does not equal quality. And that's just what it boils down to. People think that number one this, number one that. It has nothing to do with quality, because in a time where you couldn't hear the album without buying it, you already bought the album. It doesn't matter if it was good or not. I mean, and the best example I have is that Metallica's Saint Anger was a number 1 album at one point. And that is regarded as one of the worst albums of all time, metal albums, if not worst albums of all time. So it's like, it hasn't really, I mean, now it's different because now it's like, now you have clicks and listens and stuff like that, plays, but you know, you could buy an album that was trash. So it's like, it has nothing to do with the album sales.
No,
and that's what Billboard was.
You just take Van Halen 1 in 1984. Those 2 albums alone have outsold the entire Hagar catalog. I mean,
oh my God, exactly.
David Lee Roth's solo has outsold Sammy.
How many Diamond albums does Hagar have?
Exactly.
I mean,
Eagles fly.
He had some cool videos. I Can't Drive 55. I get it. It's
a novelty song. That's a novelty song.
Yeah,
exactly. It was nowhere near Jump or Panama or Alpha Teacher.
No, that's like
nobody remembers Hagar from '84.
He was corny. I mean, Van Halen wasn't doing that corny crap when he was doing 55. Like their music videos were very different. I mean, they were. If they even had any, they had very little, you know, it was kind of just
Pretty Woman.
Yeah, exactly. That was very unique though, but it wasn't. that was super unique, and that was one of the
Trannies
first
before
ones.
trannies
But
became popular.
almost all Van Halen videos are just performance. You know, like AC/DC, like AC/DC's music videos were just playing on a stage and multiple camera angles and.
And I know Conklin and I might have talked about this before, but like the other thing that bugged me about Hagar, I mean, I love 5150. Okay, I was happy that there was a Van Halen, right? But what really bugged me, you know, especially like kind of seeing the live stuff, and actually, you know, being, you know, with Conks, you know, 8-1, I'll never forget that was my first Van Halen show. The thing that bugged me about Hagar on 5150, not so much on OU 812 because they kind of cut it out, was the whole like, you know, bashing Dave, like, you know,
agree.
Dave who,
Yeah.
you know, and I was like, why is this guy in this battle? He didn't live those years with the other three guys. Like, you know, they want to bash Dave. Okay, I get it. You know, but
It's
they had a reason to. Sammy had
it's
nothing.
like bullshit.
It's interesting that they let him too. Like when I think of like other bands that like when they have a new member, like usually the new like the green member is not allowed to do like the you know the crazy like I'm a front man kind of. I mean like Metallica did it, bullied Jason Newsted, the bass player, so much over the year. Like he was never allowed to be like a real. I mean, he's a bass player, but not the front man. But still, it's like it's surprising that like they let him like talk shit about someone that he wasn't involved with at all.
No, I actually think that they told him to stop. They asked him to stop that too. After a while, I think Eddie and Alex said, "You know what? No, stop with the Roth stuff. No more." You know. I remember hearing that. I don't, you know, or reading it or something like that. They like basically, okay, dude, enough. Let's just move on. You know what I mean? From that.
The other interesting thing about that tour was that, and I gotta give credit to one of my favorite podcasts, Dave and Dave Unchained, for this, because it wasn't really my original thought, but they had a great point. Is that like kind of like what Tanner said? In walks Hagar, and now he's like dictating terms. I don't want to sing this. I don't want to sing Jump. I don't want to sing this. And like one of the Daves went to one of the Meadowland shows, right? And he's like thinking he's gonna hear Running with the Devil, Unchained, but like there was none of that in 5150.
Yeah.
And so like it's like here comes like, I mean, imagine AC/DC saying to like Brian Johnson, you know, you can't sing some of the, you know, I mean, Brian Johnson saying, I'm not going to sing some of this, you know, Bon Scott,
shit,
you know, or whatever. So it just seemed like they kind of, and like, I think part of it was that he brought in Ed Loeffler and, you know, maybe like he had some control over that, but, you know, they ended up doing 2 Hagar songs. They did I Can't Drive 55. They do, you know,
One Way to Rock.
One Way to Rock. Yeah.
You know, the weird thing was that Ed Loeffler, though, apparently when he became their manager, he totally was not, you'd expect him to be like, oh, he's a Sammy guy.
No, I respect that.
He was like cut down, like,
yeah.
no, that's
not. Made him a lot more money, made all those guys a lot more. I got respect to that. Yeah.
And when he died, that was the end of that band when you think about it.
You know, Ray Daniels. Talk about that. That was the end. Yeah, that was it. He was the glue that kept everybody together.
Ray Daniels was a kiss of death, dude.
But you know what? Ray Daniels came off pretty good in Chris Gill and Brad Talinsky's book. If you read,
I used to, you know, kind of take the stance as less, but I mean, Ray Daniels, it wasn't like Van Halen was his only. He managed Rush.
Exactly.
I mean,
and they never had a problem.
Yeah, those guys. So I don't know. Like I feel I thought that too, but listening to some podcasts or whatever with all, you know, throughout all these years, they kind of presented Ray as, I don't know, maybe not the villain that Hagar's making him out to be. You know,
I 100% agree with that. You know what? You got to remember too, the Van Halens, they didn't make the money they should have made in the 80s.
No, they didn't.
I always sensed that there was a bitterness about that. And then when Ed Loeffler came along, they started to make real money like they wanted to make, you know. And then when he died, they wanted another guy to come in there that was going to, listen, Balance was the #1 album. They wanted to cash in and make as much possible money as they could on it. And they, you know, Ray Daniels was looking for avenues. That's why he had them open up for Bon Jovi in Europe, which backfired on them. And now people use that against Van Halen. But listen, man, they barely ever toured Europe. So
no, they didn't.
We're not as big. Bon Jovi basically lived there for years in Europe touring, you know?
Exactly.
So, and they, they carried all their equipment. Van Halen had a sweetheart deal with them. They footed the bill for everything Bon Jovi, but the fact that now people turn it against them and say, oh, Van Halen opened for Bon Jovi in Europe. But Ray Daniels was doing that to try to give them more exposure. And it was, and they laid out barely any money to ship all their equipment or anything over there.
That wasn't about ego. That was about
they're not making money and exposing them. And, hey, and anybody that says, oh, Van Halen opened for Bon Jovi, all you got to say is, listen, Balance was the #1 album, sold 3 million copies in 1995 already. And it was 3 weeks #1. They weren't on their way down at that point.
Yeah. A while back, I got into an argument. Surprise,
Jimmy.
On this with this one guy, and I understand his sentiment. He was saying that Van Halen is one of the biggest global bands. That's not right. I mean, I kind of like what Conks was saying. In 1985, I spent 3 months in Greece, right, with my family and stuff, and I was going out with some people that I knew and kids my age and stuff. I was like 85, I'm 17, right? And I mean, so it's 1985, a year after 84, came out. I mean, their biggest thing. And like the guys that I'm hanging out with are like, they knew that I kind of played guitar and like loved music, and they're like, what are you into? And I tell them I love Van Halen. I thought like they knew who. They had no idea. They had no idea who Van Halen was.
Yep,
none. Right? What was big there? It was like Scorpions. Obviously European and stuff. But
David Hasselhoff.
I would have loved if those guys, if they focused on Europe more, but they didn't.
Yeah, it's bizarre being that they were from Europe. You'd think they would have,
Yeah, you're right. Like they weren't in, like how long did it take them to go to Japan?
Yeah,
they didn't play Japan till way late. Well, they actually, they did play early.
They played Japan.
I mean, it wasn't like they were doing world tours, like you said, like
you did a second tour, right? But that was, I mean, you got Japan, but then you got all of Europe, and you got guys. I mean, case in point, our host here, Andrew. Those guys never went down there until 1998.
Yeah.
Whereas, Bon Jovi, they're playing Indonesia. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Later Bon Jovi, later like 1998 era Bon Jovi is not what I'm interested in. But they're like playing stadiums everywhere. So I mean, yeah, there's that thing with like, Van Halen, and I think even Richie Sambora went on record saying that he didn't really feel too comfortable with that, but like
You're
having
right,
Van Halen, or maybe it was John.
Right,
I don't know. Huh?
I think it was
the
John
Rock
Bon
Professor
Jovi
on the channel, and he's mentioned it a few times that in '84 no one was listening to Van Halen in the UK. If you were listening to Van Halen, it was completely on the fringe. It was. And people that went to the the Castle Donington gig, Jimmy, as you guys know, were going there to see other bands, Yeah.
AC/DC and
yeah. I mean, I would have loved for them to be a global act, like Bon Jovi or like U2 or something, But
sure.
they didn't really.
These are facts. These are facts. I mean. Yeah. Just because we love them more than anybody doesn't mean they were the biggest.
Yeah, but you know what, guys? You got to also remember this, though, that you're 100% right. I'm not discounting what you're saying, but Van Halen is I think the 19th best-selling act of all time. I mean, of all time. You look at the list.
Pretty good.
The Beatles, Elvis Presley, Madonna, all these in there, Fleetwood Mac, and people like that. The Eagles. Van Halen is I think they're 19 all time, and that's that's pretty incredible. For a band that rarely toured out of the United States. I think the whole Bon Jovi thing took a turn because John Bon Jovi, his head got big, and he was going around saying that Van Halen was our opening act and stuff like, and it was, when it's all semantics once again, you know what I mean? It's like, tell the whole story, John, you know what I mean? So, but, and the truth is,
like John, like Conk said, they had like favored nation status in a sense where they could tour and not have to bring all their equipment, the sound system, they could use it or whatever. So, that cuts down on a lot of costs. So they were like, oh, we'll do it. But
yeah, 2 weeks in Europe, man. Hey, opening for Bon Jovi at festivals. It was at festivals. So it was like, not a big deal. But I do remember, and I don't know if it was in Sammy's book or if it was one of the chapters that was cut out, but Eddie apparently, obviously he was probably drinking, but he went looking for John Bon Jovi, and I heard he was banging on his hotel door room and wanted to kick his ass for him saying that. And I know Michael Anthony, who, like I always say, was the nicest guy about everything. He even said that the Bon Jovi thing was not a good experience. He even said that. And apparently Eddie was, John Bon Jovi was pissed because Van Halen wouldn't stay and watch his set at the side of the stage. It was just like, they would split. They would do their set and they'd split because they couldn't care less about Bon Jovi,
Yeah. So like they can watch John do "Lay Me Down in a Bed of Roses." Come on.
Right. Exactly.
I guess it was kind of some bad medicine for John, huh?
Yeah,
nice, Les. Nice.
Yeah, you give love a bad name, man.
Dude, I think they were in and out a lot. I think they were actually in and out a lot.
I always hold that against Bon Jovi now because of Van Halen. It's just like, and then I heard their new song, and oh my god, it's just
my god, dude, I heard that song a couple of days ago on the radio, and I'm like, this is so terrible.
Yeah, it's just terrible. It's like a weak B-side from one of their early albums or something like that. It's
so terrible.
It really is. It's like, I don't know, man.
I've got Apple Music, so like, they released the last album a couple of years ago. I'm like, I'll give it a listen. I don't have to buy it, right? And I'm like, it's just like romantic. It's like easy. It's like Air Supply for this year. It's like Air Supply, but like for 2023 or 2022.
You're right. You're right. Absolutely.
So,
well, it has to be to get the 15 minutes of fame that everyone shoots for the 15 minutes rather than the stuff that lasts now, because that's just the only way. I mean, you got everyone's selling their music on TikTok.
Have you heard John sing live? He is really bad. Like out of tune.
Yeah.
And shit. It's terrible.
Yeah,
Listen, he's got one of the great rock producers of the day in his band. What's the guy? The guy Shanks, John Shanks.
Yeah.
Look at John Shanks' track record. Sheryl Crow, all these other. He's done some big. He's written some great songs for some of the, like Sheryl Crow. He wrote, some of those big hit songs that she had, "Soak Up the Sun" or whatever that. He might have wrote that one with her, but the guy is an accomplished guy, producer, and it's like he couldn't even,
John just, it's like he's tone deaf or something. I don't know if he had to get vocal surgery, but
he definitely did. He said, I heard he did. He had vocal surgery.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think they're over with too. But listen, Van Halen made more money since 2004 to 2015 than they did from 1977 to 2000. You know what I mean? They made more money in the last 15 years of their career than they ever made in the first 30 years. You know what I mean? So
that was most of it was due to just poor management, poor distribution and advertising and stuff. I mean, I think honestly the lack of the strictness that they had in the beginning with the bootlegs and stuff like that took a toll on them. I think they were like so obsessed with no merch and no everything, no anything. It just was just like let the music. I think, and I probably had to do with the fact that what's his name? Noel wasn't even really a manager. Like Noel took over for, was it Marshall?
Yeah,
Marshall Earl, and neither of those guys were like really that accomplished. and
they had the name, they didn't have the experience in this sense.
Yeah. But like that's the same. Like ZZ Top's producer or ZZ Top's manager, I can't remember his name, but like most of those guys, like they just were like, I want to be a music manager, and they just like did it, and just by starting it, they eventually got better, but they weren't always.
And they had strong personalities too. They were to manage a rock and roll act, you've got to be a strong, determined individual. Certainly from the history and the experiences of some of the great managers that we've had over the course of rock and roll history. Guys, I'm just going to change the subject a little bit. It's fantastic and fascinating, and we love, obviously, sharing our opinions and thoughts. And remember that, folks, if you are watching on a replay, these are only opinions and thoughts. We're fans.
Don't cancel us.
Cox is very seldomly wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, just ask me.
you're
I'll
more
tell you.
you're more than welcome to disagree with us or agree with anybody here. Leave a comment. But EVH Con, gentlemen, we never really got an opportunity to talk about EVH Con.
I thought we did. No.
No, I don't think we did.
We planned on it, but we haven't come on for a while. The last time we came on was with Jim from the 1984
That's
tour
correct.
book or whatever, and we said next time we'll talk about it, but it's been about a month and a half, I think.
Yeah. So obviously 3. Were you there, Les? Were you at EVH Con this year?
Yeah,
all of us were there.
yeah.
I was
Okay.
there. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I brought my Marshall. I just had it modded, but it had some problems. You could see it behind me, the 71 Super Lead, and then what's his name brought his rack out. Real nice guy from New York.
Monaco. Dave Monaco.
Dave Monaco, yeah, he had incredible rack by Bob Bradshaw, wired it up, and it was all the stuff that he used. And but I brought my Marshall. I had problems with it, so we didn't use it. We used his. What did we use? We used the 5150 amp actually for that, so it was good. Now I got my Marshall fixed, so I'll bring it. I guess is it this year? I guess it's going to be in November or October.
I think so.
I saw him comment recently because nobody knew what amp really, unless we were using up on stage, unless he really asked. But people were saying it was wicked loud, and he was like, I had the 5150 on 4 for most of the day.
They think that was wicked loud, man. That was the best volume out of. I've been to every single con. That was the best volume.
Yeah,
I put in earplugs.
You had to be.
I had those little. I have those earplugs that slightly dampen. But yeah, for the sake of my cymbals, I put those earplugs in. But it was pretty manageable. That
was a great volume. You could talk.
It was a good volume. I didn't think it was that loud.
It was not.
We spent some time. John and Joe and I spent some time the night before trying to get some levels and stuff set, and yeah, it was wicked cool.
Hold on.
I don't even think didn't Dave not even play?
Dave didn't play.
I mean, doesn't he not even play guitar though?
He plays. I think he just wanted to bring his rig. Yeah, he had 2 8-inch power amps.
He rented a U-Haul just to get it over there because he's never brought it out of his house. I don't think.
Really?
Yeah.
This is it. The cover's on it here, but you can see up top some stuff there, and over there you can see the H&H power amps. It was like Eddie's rig from the Balance tour.
I see my Rosewood snare drum as well.
That's right. There it is.
Wow.
Keep talking. I'll try to find some more pics.
Yeah, he had that. Bob Bradshaw apparently had that rig for a few years, about 4 to 5 years, because he'd moved from LA to. He actually lives about an hour and a half from me out in Lillet's. I think it's at Lillet's, PA, and so he had it getting it all wired up and stuff, and it's an incredible rig. It's great. Yeah, that was really cool. That was a cool poster.
Cool banners there. There's another one too behind there. Let's see. Oh, wait. And this is one of the 20 that Chip Ellis made of the 2015 tour guitar. He made. Remember they made 20 of them, and this is one of the actual 20 of them that Chip Ellis made.
That's so badass.
I know a guy from Vermont brought that. Actually, we found out that we're the only guys from Vermont, and he lives half an hour, 45 minutes from me.
No, I didn't know that. That's pretty wild.
He also has. Listen to this. He's got both of the Alex Van Halen signature snares, the Rosewood and the what was it? It was wire brush with the copper, and those go literally for $15,000 a piece, if not more. Baba Booey.
Baba Booey.
Yeah, I remember I went to John. I'm like, dude, is that Gary Dell'Abate over there? Don't look. I'm like, don't look. Is that Gary Dell'Abate?
That's what I was like too. All of a sudden, I'm talking to Steve Nowicki, and all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm standing 5 feet from Baba Booey right now. What the hell?
Yeah.
Mikey Mojo.
Mikey.
Right on.
Nice.
He brought a bunch of. He brought Star, Shark, Rob and his boyfriends brought the dragon snake.
I like that. That's cool.
That dragon snake will be mine one day, Rob.
I want.
I got dibs on that, my friend.
Oh, he brought the double neck too, but Joe broke a string while we were tuning it up, so we didn't play secrets. I was kind of bummed.
Oh yeah.
Matthew Anthony and Steve Nowicki were with Rob the day before or whatever, and that was cool to meet Matt. He makes some really good 5150s.
Amazing work. Yeah, he's moved all the way up to the top of the food chain on that.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go. Here's the rig with
there you go.
Got the cover on it.
Wow.
And the one of the
blue
Ace
one
3000s came from 5150, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the blue one on top.
The blue one.
Okay, guys.
Almost bought that,
So what's that rig worth? Give me an idea.
Oh my god.
Well, okay, so the
1 million.
okay, well, I mean, like the Roland units, delays, they're probably worth about 400 each. Those PCM 70s are probably worth about 1,200 now each. Those even had each. Well, the one with the edge is probably, I think it was on sale for like 4,000, so it's probably worth what now? I don't know what now, but like the gray one, a regular Eventide used is probably worth about 3,500 now. They've gone up in price.
10K?
Huh?
10K for that rig?
More, I'd say more probably, right?
He had the replica foot switch thing with custom audio or whatever.
Yeah, he's got everything set up like Ed would.
It was pretty comical because there was like a kill switch on the pedal board, and we would kill it after every song, and so everyone that would get up on stage and they'd go, okay, click that button right there, and every single person clicked it, and it just went.
Wow. Who's that up there next to you? Who's next to the bass player? Oh,
there you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that was surprised how many we had. Like 2 or 3 bass players that would pop up, and I think Joe sang for most of the day.
Yeah, Joe sang a lot of songs.
That's when I dropped my pick and I'm staring at it on the floor because I couldn't play it.
That's
I noticed that you dropped it.
I'm serious.
Next year, I'm bringing headphones so I can actually hear the synth on Why Can't This Be Love?
Oh no.
fantastic.
A couple people didn't make it that we were surprised about. Craig Stoffco didn't make it, and
Pete didn't make it either. Pete.
Yeah.
I think they had their own EVH Con.
we were joking.
They had CHS Con.
Who else wasn't there that we were like, oh yeah, Fairfield, Lewis wasn't there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was Rob Johnson there?
Rob was there, yeah.
Did he play?
No. His dog was there.
That's right.
Rob brought his whole.
Barney was there, his dog.
Barney, yeah.
Rob brought the whole posse. He had I think he had his girlfriend and there, and then yeah, him and Matt and Steve spent the night or whatever together, and they in the dojo.
Okay.
And Shreddy
Great.
was there. Shreddy was there, right?
Shreddy, yeah, Shreddy.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Anthony
That-
Sagisi's son.
Yeah, he did a great job on Jump.
He
Good
did.
job.
That kid's
He
awesome.
sure did.
That was
That's
really
Sure
cool.
did.
That's Chris Gill's guitar that he brought back from Japan. It's like a miniature Les Paul.
Right.
It's very cool, man. That thing, very cool. Chris is in here too. Keep talking. I'll find more pictures.
Chris was a looming presence over the con. It was pretty funny. I never got to say hi, actually.
Are you kidding me? Really?
Yeah, Chris is.
Well,
Craig
he
will be taking
I-
his son.
I didn't
soon,
have too
won't he,
much time to talk to him,
EVH
and then
Con?
all of a sudden I had to play, so I didn't really make my way around.
All right. Just stop that now, bro. Just in case fucking YouTube get crazy. Yeah. He was go and see that on the channel, guys. He's
Yeah.
playing that at the start, isn't he, John?
I think it was at the beginning. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
sure.
He had they had a jump sound pulled up on there. I think Anthony brought just his laptop, and they had like the Oberheim sound on the on plug-in, and they had the jump sound, and they had like a piano sound for right now, and I helped his son pull up like an I'll wait sound towards the end of the con, and he was pretty psyched about that. He's like, I gotta save this.
Thanks for the support, Nelson. Means a lot to us, bro. Thank you.
That was like a sound check right there, right, Tanner?
Or yeah, it must have been early. Yeah, early in the day.
That was some great filming by this one guy I know, Jimmy Fallon.
Jim and John and I were there from about 10 o'clock till, and then Les showed up a little bit later, but we were all there until about 7:30, 7:30, and it was pretty comical.
Mm-hmm.
That's Mike Matissa, and
Yeah,
that's
he's sweet.
his fiance. She's a great singer. She's
Yeah,
got
she's
actually a song out on. I think her name is Carly something.
I can't remember her last name.
Yeah, but she's got a song out on Apple Music too. One Night, it's called. She's got a great voice. What a great singer she is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she did a really good job.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I think Mike there produced her, and he plays on
Yep.
her song too. Yeah, it's great. It's really good.
They were the Stern crew, Howard Stern crew.
Yeah, the Sirius Radio crew, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in contact with him because I was asking if he knew about if they were going to put it on Stern or not for like that week afterwards. I was so nervous for that goddamn song.
Anyway, that's that. I'm trying to see what else we got. Oh, there's Nowicki and Baba Booey and Joe Suma.
Awesome. Big
Well, we-
smiles.
Nowicki's 1950 half a teacher guitar right there.
Yeah.
That thing was crazy.
Did he build that?
Yeah, he built that. It's amazing. It took him like 6 months, I think he said, to do that one.
The Hoffer teacher has like kind of speckle point. I don't know what happened to the paint finish on it, but he said he sat there with like a super sharp X-Acto knife or pin or something like that, and literally just like pecked at it for like days. And then
Really?
you could see it. It was insane. It probably would be confused with the real thing, honestly. Which I believe he's seen.
He might have, yeah. I don't know.
I believe he was telling me things about it that like he knew because he saw the real thing, but I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, well done, guys, to Jimmy and to you, Tanner and Johnny and Les Paul for attending and setting up the broadcast. For
Yeah,
the
that
channel.
actually worked pretty well, right, dude?
Yeah,
We're hoping
it
to
worked.
have a better audio next time. I think we talked about getting a microphone that plugs into the iPad or something like that, at least to get a better kind of ambient sound. And,
But look, at the end of the day, Tanner,
Yeah.
A lot of people got a lot of enjoyment watching the
Absolutely.
live feed and watching what you guys are doing and celebrating that, on our channel was a big deal, despite, some people, criticizing the sound. At the end of the day, what do you expect?
my whole town was I think my whole town was watching. My mom. I told my mom about it, so she told every single person that we knew to watch it. So frequently during the day, I think people were popping on. But since then, I've heard all these people saying, "Oh, I popped in, I watched a few songs," and I'm like, "Oh my lord, I didn't know the whole world was watching."
Yeah, well, you were international, guys, global.
I think next year, if we got to try to figure out something with like PZM microphone or something like that. That'll we got to test it out ahead of time. And
I really want to record.
I got to get
good recordings of us.
A good condenser mic. It's a USB-C, and it's great. It's good.
Les, that's your job for next year, all right, buddy?
Yeah.
I'd love to get like a DI. I'd love to get like DIs from all the members of the band and then like mix it later. That was the night before, I think.
Hey, Ryan.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
No, you did well, bro.
John and I got to get McDonald's together 2 days in a row. So
there you go. Look at that.
The McDonald's across the street.
Yeah, we spent some quality time.
2 days in a row. We left both days and headed over there without telling each other, and then we're just like,
"Hey, I know you."
Yeah,
we hadn't eaten anything like all day. I think.
Oh my god! I had driven 5 hours the day before to get down there, so I basically went there, set up, and I was like, I need a burger.
But you settled.
So besides you guys playing and checking gear out and all that, must have been fantastic to meet guys, Tanner, that you'd seen and experienced on YouTube and through Instagram and social media, to meet guys like Mikey and, Jimmy and John and Les Paul in real life and give them a man hug.
I was surprised to see how tall everyone was.
How tall everyone was? I don't know.
Not that everyone was tall. I'm just saying I was surprised that some people were as tall or shorter or taller as I've seen them on YouTube or on just in YouTube.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Sometimes you're surprised when you see people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember the first time I met Rob Johnson. I thought Rob was this like really tiny little guy, but Rob is like, he's wide, man. He's like, you can tell he works out. He's like, but he's literally
shredded.
Like, he's wide. It's like shoulders are like twice the size of us. Like,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It's like it's amazing. Yeah, you wouldn't know it in the picture, but he's wide. He's like his shoulders are. I was like, oh my god, he's like, dude, he's like, he must be jacked or something, or he must work out a lot. But that was
Chris Gill is about 4 feet taller than I pictured. That guy's tall.
Yeah, he's a tall dude. Pretty tall.
He's like a wizard. Somebody brought pizza. Somebody brought like 5-6 pizzas, and there's sodas and beer and water and.
Yeah, who was there? That Ed Dubrell was there. He came down from Massachusetts, I guess, and
Leandro.
Leandro. Yeah. He's a nice.
Who was the other young kid there that played? He played Somebody Give Me a Doctor. He had long, kind of blondish hair.
Oh yeah. I don't know who that was, but
I'm friends with him on Instagram. He was really good.
Daniel?
Probably.
Is it Dan?
Let's see. He was really good.
I think he's one of Stavko's dudes, right? Isn't Stavko like do his guitars or something?
I don't know.
Stavko's got a bit of a club going on, hasn't he? With CJ playing drums and picking up the guitar and ripping it, man. He's going to be, just as good, if not better than his old man.
The kid's name is Dallas.
Oh, Dallas.
That's it.
That was it. Yeah.
Not Dan. Yeah.
Yeah, he rocked. It was nice to see some younger people there. Who else was there?
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of people. A lot of people that come every year.
Yeah.
A lot of new people.
Yeah, in and out. There were definitely a lot of new people in and out this year too. It's true.
It looked like
Any fights?
Was it the biggest turnout or not?
I don't
I
know.
think before was bigger. Last time was really crowded. Seems like.
I don't know, Jimmy. What do you think was the biggest turnout last year or this year? Or
Remember the one where Adam gave away the guitar?
I think it'd be a difference of like, I don't know.
Oh, Teddy was there.
Oh yeah,
Teddy.
Tedster the Greek, man. I love you, Teddy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
bro. I don't know. You know, give or take 7 people is probably the same. I thought this con was the best for one reason, primarily, is that the levels were fantastic.
You could actually hear.
You could
people
actually talk to somebody. I could actually say to Conks, dude, is that Baba Booey over there? And like, there's a band. It was great. I thought it was great. I mean, seriously, 2 cons ago, you got like, I call it volume drunk. You could.
Oh God.
You had to go outside. It was just too much, man. Like
I remember Dave Nesdall a couple of years ago. Jimmy was going on. You know, he was on a show and he was talking about. He said it doesn't need to be that loud. You know, because the whole idea is about talking as well. So yeah, good that you guys managed to get that under control.
Half the crew, even last year, we were outside most of the time, right? But this last con was the best because everybody was inside. First of all, we were freezing, so we couldn't go. It was freezing. We couldn't go outside. But there was no need to go outside. It was great.
Fantastic.
You know?
You could escape volume.
Yeah.
Scott Smith was there.
Oh, Scott was there. Yeah. Exactly.
And Boner Jams from Under the Bus was there.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's not even a Van Halen fan, but I think he went as a representative since Kurt lives west, and obviously so does Caleb. Caleb lives in California, so they all. I think there has been talk. I think Jeff Goebel, there actually was some talk about a West Coast EVH Con because there are a lot of guys, Caleb, Jeff.
I'd have to call it something else.
That's right.
Yeah, they were, something. But they just were like, what?
Jeff Goebel's not a West Coast guy. He's from like Alabama, right, or something.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. He's from
Goebbels lives down there, like Alabama. Or,
yeah.
I told you guys I ran into him, right? I was outside at the Guitar Center.
You said that, yeah.
Right? Yeah, I'm outside looking at the handprints of my wife outside. It was like dark out, and and all of a sudden some guy walks out. And I go, my wife is like, I know that guy. She's like, what? I go, Jeff, and he goes, John. I go, yeah. I was like, oh man, and then it felt like we knew each other after that. And then we talked for like a half an hour after that. He's like, yeah, Jeff's a great guy. I really enjoyed talking to him. Then we went around the back and we took a picture in front of the mural together, and it was cool.
My favorite part of the con, honestly, I mean, the whole thing was fun, but I think one of my favorite parts was at the end. We were all talking, and I kind of remembered that the stream was still going, and I saw Andrew up on the screen just kind of talking, trying to get our attention and stuff, and no one's on their phones because we were all talking, and like I got everybody over, and I think the 4 of us were on one screen for the first time, and I don't know, I just thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. We all said, "Hey,
you should have got a screenshot of that."
Yeah.
Well, we can go back, but I think it's I thought that was pretty funny that we were all there.
Actually, I'll do that this weekend.
Yeah,
I'll go through and grab that. Thank you.
Cool,
Thank you for reminding me.
Cool.
See who the tallest is. See who the tallest is.
Yeah, we were just
and who the widest is.
Yeah.
That was a good time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
And then we stayed. I think even after that, we stayed for about an hour because we were nerding out over pickups. And Teddy brought his what was it? The Music Man in Progress, and
Teddy loved John's Wolfgang, right?
Yeah.
Did he love Wolfgang?
He did.
he didn't play. He didn't play, but that guy can play. Holy crap, man!
Teddy can play. It's like unbelievably well.
He
But
plays. He plays like Eric Johnson. Like it's like he got up for like 2 minutes just shredded like kind of like a Cliffs of Dover kind of intro, and it was like,
right, exactly.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, he's Greek.
Yeah. John, you said that you knew somebody there. John, you said someone was there that was like really good, but he didn't play. Who was that? Who was that guy?
This guy's name is Rob Mealy, and his brother and his nephew. Remember his nephew got on the drums? I think Jimmy comes to the gigs at Lucy's, and and
those guys are great.
They're great people, but Rob, like, he's the quietest, most unassuming guy. And man, if he got up and played, he's that good of a player. I remember I used to take lessons from the same guy he did in like 1991 or 90, like way back then.
Wow.
And he used to be in there all the time. And he was just like, oh my gosh, this guy's insane. But he's like the most humble, nicest guy. So much that he wouldn't even like, I'm yelling, come on, get up, play. And his brother and he just was like, nope, no way, I'm not doing it. It's like, and that would have been a treat because he's that good of a player. So maybe next year, right? And he comes every year. It's not the first year he's been there either. So,
yeah, those guys are good dudes, man.
Yeah, they really are. They love their Van Halen. Jimmy, you said they showed up at your gig at Lucy's, right?
Yeah, we had a good time, right? Man. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, the nephew or whatever, he played I'll Wait up on stage or whatever, which was like the biggest bummer for me because that's like my favorite Van Halen song lately. And I was like, I just knew we weren't going to play it because that kid said he didn't know how to play it fully yet, but they decided to just kind of run through it, or it was like whatever. And I was like, but it gave me a chance to listen to my drums across the room rather than right in front of them, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, your drums sounded great too. I mean, it was nice, the kick drum and everything like that.
Yeah, I had 2 kits that I cycled through. I had more set up, but I played like one kit that had like kind of like an early Van Halen like sound, and it sounded crappy. It just wasn't cutting through enough. So I stuck with like a kind of like a 90s kind of era like kick, kind of clicky kick and stuff. And then I had I had the Simmons kit pulled up for when I played Why Can't This Be Love With You, and I played that, what's the other one I played with Steve Nowicki and the rest of them.
Out for Teacher you did?
We played Best of Both Worlds.
Oh, right, that was it, yeah.
So I had that sound pulled up for that, but
yeah, I thought the drum.
I wish somebody brought the Steinberger. I want to, I wish Rob brought the Steinberger.
Yeah.
You can see the amp in front of the drums. I had to put that there because the kick kept moving away.
That's a father and a son right there.
Yeah, it's so cool, man. Yeah. Yeah, they were at my gig. He loved that white Beretta, the white Holy Grail that I've got.
That was like at the end of that was about, I don't know, it was about 5 o'clock at night. It looks like, according to this. Oh, here's a cool shot right here.
Oh, there you go, man. Right.
Wow. Hold on, bro.
That's Scott Smith, Jimmy, Scott Smith, Les, and me.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Fantastic.
We got to get that screenshot of Tanner. I don't know why we didn't get a picture. Tanner, you're supposed to remember this crap, man.
I know.
Hold on, bro.
Well, I figured out that one of my family members lives literally 15 minutes from the venue, and I didn't need to get an Airbnb for 2 days, so that's good to know.
Oh yeah.
So you got it sus for next year, Les.
Oh yeah, that was Romeo
Tanner.
Delay.
There's Rob Johnson there with the white.
Yep.
Yeah, Robin Anthony.
That's she could sing. That's is here.
Craig's just saying CJ sucks. Oh my lord. Oh.
Oh, Craig, is he there? What's up, dude? Craig, you're taking a break from my gold top?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Craig. If Craig, you took the night off.
Oh, you talk about gold tops, Jimmy. Your posts have been hilarious, bro. Oh my lord.
I think some people don't get the joke that it's like not a real pick. I think people think that's a real pick.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck, it's hilarious, bro.
Yo, man, Craig, man, we got to get you on here, dude. We got to get you on
Yeah.
here, man. I know
Oh,
you've been,
Hey,
you've been
Jimmy.
overdue.
computer.
Jimmy, when the gold top, the big reveal, we gotta have Craig on here.
Ooh, I like
Yeah,
that.
that'd be cool.
There you go.
Ooh, I
Huh?
like that. I like that idea a lot.
All right, Craig, get ready.
I like that idea a lot, man. Good idea,
Get her
Cons.
done.
Get it done. Hold on a second.
Coming soon, promise.
Yeah.
The best picture from the
Yeah.
con was at when we
Yeah.
took the big picture. Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, they do that. They do that at the end of the con every year.
We
Yeah.
took the big picture, and there's I think one of the only good ones. There, Joe had snowflakes hanging from the ceiling, and it's completely covering my face because I was standing up on my drum throne.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I have one of those full shots of at the end.
Oh, that looks good.
Let's see.
Yeah, Craig spent a lot of time on that. I don't even want to get into how long, because he's a perfectionist and wanted to get the top right. You know, he got it right. There was some trouble with the wood. There was something wrong with the wood, so he had to start from the beginning. But it looks like we're closing in, man. So thanks for the hard work, Craig.
Craig says 8 years.
Kinda.
Kinda.
Coming soon, promise. All right, Craig. So when Jimmy gets the guitar, you're gonna be on the show that night, and we're gonna talk about you and all
Yes.
the amazing things that you're doing, and
Yes.
and unveil Jimmy's gold top when it's ready.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
love that, man. I would
Oh.
love that. Yeah,
sounds like
I'm gonna hold him to it. I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna hold him to that.
It'll
Definitely.
be an honor and a privilege to have him on. Wow.
Yeah. I even told him today when he sent me those pictures that he's gonna get on.
Yeah, definitely, Craig.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. Can't wait because you know, legends. And you know,
yeah, I mean,
obviously
in all-
Craig's a humble guy, but you know, at the
In
end
all
of the
honesty,
day,
I mean, if you're looking for something like that, I mean, Craig does, you know, incredible. I mean, he had like 2 cons ago, he had remember that blue one that he had where it was the Ernie ball. It had the blue top, but the back was
Yes.
like
Yes.
caramel.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
just like, that was just a dream, man. You know,
Yeah.
like
oh,
Craig will build you. I mean, I've got Craig will build you anything. You know, you want a Van Halen guitar? He'll do that. You want he built me like kind of like my own little creation, a little homage to like the Jack Butler Charvel. So you know, he did that a couple of years ago, and
That's the heaviest guitar I've ever played. That thing weighs like 14 pounds.
I love
It's
love
heavier
it.
than God. It's heavy.
I love that. Yeah, I need it to be heavy.
Dude, it's actually heavier than my 5150 combo.
Yeah, you know what? That guitar seriously is hairline maybe too heavy, but I like that. It's heavy. Yeah, it's heavy.
If you're saying it's heavy, it must be
Yeah,
heavy.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could never play one of your guitars, man. They just,
Dude,
I'd have to sit down in a chair.
Yeah, they're yeah.
Dude, it's like putting a 5150 combo.
But
like on a
you know,
guitar
like
strap and a
Craig
finger
will,
on your
Craig
neck.
will do anything, man. Craig, you know, you basically, you know, you dream it up, Craig will do it. You know, you know, check out his Instagram. I mean, or his Facebook thing. He's done. You know, you know. Oh yeah, he. Oh yeah, there you go. Here we go. Craig painted that for Nuno. I think he did 2 of them.
Yeah.
From what he told me, one of them
bad,
has 2 pickups, and
Well,
but it's the same. You know.
When
Not
we get Craig on, we'll be talking about this with him too.
Yeah.
No, I gotta remind Craig that I want my drill those same colors. And Craig, no offense to LPG, but my drill has to be done before LPG's. Okay. I'm not even sure if LPG even sent his drill out yet. Oh, good.
I gotta find it. It's in my closet somewhere.
You got to find that Makita.
Hey, who gave you that drill?
I think Craig did.
Craig gave you that drill? I think another gentleman that happens to be on the show right now gave you that drill.
Tanner didn't give me that drill. Did Tanner?
No, that sounds like something Tanner would do, but I don't think it was Tanner.
Oh, it was you. It was Top Jimmy.
Top Jimmy.
Yeah, but no.
I gotta get
in
a
all
charger for
seriousness, you know, if anybody's here wants anything done, man, you know, Craig's the guy to do it. He'll do anything for you. You know, unbelievable.
He'll do anything. He'll do anything for you.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah,
Bumble
follow him on Instagram.
So,
I mean, follow Craig on Instagram. Look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually,
Now
while you guys talk, I'll find his Instagram account and put the link here
Oh,
in the
okay, yeah,
channel.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, the Aqua PV that he did, that was like one of the most beautiful guitars.
Yeah, that was two cons ago. Yeah, that was
nice. It was incredible.
and one of my favorite things is he had this chalk white Van Halen 1 that I need done at some point, Craig. So anyway, great.
I like the Yankees Wolfgang he did.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about the Yankees right now. Let's talk about
right.
Where's Charlie? Craig, where's Charlie's? How come I don't see Charlie's guitar on your Instagram, Craig? I want to show everybody a picture of it. I don't. Is it on there?
Should be on.
I'm trying to find it on here. Oh, okay. Well, here's. Well, oh wait, here. No. There's one picture of it. You can see it there. Look at that paint job.
Yeah, man. I should some cool guitar picks on there too.
Everybody, there you go. Right. Everybody go to. You can see Craig. He says it's on there. Let me look. Hold on. Let me see if I can find a shot of it. Craig, text me a shot. I'm trying to find it on here. Oh, I have.
Send pics.
I have that shot of it right there. It's a Gibson Explorer. Look at that. He did like a.
Yeah.
Let's go Mets. You got that right.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, here's the before of Charlie from Anthrax, and now he's in Pantera playing drums. That's his guitar that he sent to Craig.
Oh, that's what it looked like before?
Yeah, look at it.
Wow.
So much better afterwards.
Thing's ugly.
Big difference, right? Let me see if Craig sent me a picture of it. Hold on. No, you didn't. Come on, Craig. What are you doing?
Purple should never be a burst.
Yankee game is over, Craig. Let's go. Come on, send the picture. They already lost. Let's go.
Don't put the picture of him on the couch on the podcast.
I mean, here's Craig's.
Give that sustainer again. That sounded great.
A Wolfgang. Look at that.
That's so cool.
With a sustainer in it. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it's cool.
That's it. Jeff Blando and the Space Wolf. Craig calls that one the Space Wolf. I mean, he's got so many great pictures on his Instagram. It's like eye candy. Look at that. Look at the finishes on these guitars. Look at
Yeah,
that.
the green was insane.
Look at that.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Awesome.
I mean,
he is what I call the maestro.
The maestro. Look at that.
That's copyrighted from me for Craig. Nobody else.
Wow.
You invented it.
Yeah, that blue Ernie ball he had 2 years ago, man, was just
Bumblefoot.
Bumblefoot.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So in between Craig working full time, playing and building guitars, and riding his bike, that's pretty
Yeah,
much
man.
Craig's life.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it. I swear that there's two people. There's two Craigs. I don't know how he has time to do all this stuff.
To Craig, shock me, baby.
Was that Ace Frehley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he sign that guitar, Ace Frehley?
To Craig, shock me, baby.
I think that's the guy from Trickster talking.
That's Steve Brown.
Yeah, talking. Oh yeah, Craig sent me a bunch of pictures here. There's
Shock me, baby.
there's that guy from Trickster playing Craig's paint job there.
Yes.
And then let's see what else. Oh yeah, there it is. To Craig, shock me, Ace Frehley, and oh, there's a picture of him playing it. Ace Frehley playing it.
Nice.
And then let's see what else.
I like Ace's
Wonder
wig.
where Ace gets his wigs.
I like Ace's wig.
Here's Craig. Here's Craig at the center of the world, Madison Square Garden, right there.
Yeah, man, right there, man.
Wow.
Center of the universe, right there, man.
Yeah, right. Oh, here's the Pantera rig with Craig and CJ.
Yeah,
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 man.
yeah.
That's with
Wow.
Zach Wild's rig, I guess, there. And there's Craig, CJ.
I think maybe like 2 minutes after that picture was taken, Craig spilled a beer on that rig.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
Shit.
It just looks so complicated. You know what I mean?
There he is. Here's Craig. Here's Craig wiping the beer off the floor. And there's CJ saying you can't take him anywhere.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not taking my old man anywhere anymore now.
CJ's embarrassed. Oh yeah, here's Charlie Banty with the guitar right there. There it is.
Oh, so much
Put on
better.
pay.
Wow. No comparison. There's absolute no comparison between that guitar
much
before.
better,
and-
much better.
Yeah.
It's all their gear and stuff here.
Looks like all the
Wow.
wireless.
Wow.
Oh, there's Zach Wild with the guitar, and Charlie.
Oh, Zach's a bit thin there. He's lost a
Zach's-
bit of weight.
He's in amazing shape. Him, yeah, now, right?
Yeah, because he was a bit porky there before.
Yeah.
Zach's using some of Dime's actual like gear, I think.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And Charlie's got his drum sound, but he actually has triggers of Vinnie Paul's actual drum sounds too, which it's like
Fantastic.
can't remember how many. It's like 70%, like 30% Vinnie Paul's like trigger sounds, because Vinnie Paul triggered his drums live, but
Yeah.
so it's pretty cool.
Wow, Zach is looking good.
That's Craig's wife, Zach, right there, and CJ and Craig, and there's Charlie in the background. And,
Rex.
yeah, from Pantera.
Wow,
Very cool.
Walk on home, boy.
Yeah.
you got it.
me see if I'm. There's a bunch of pictures here. Let me see if there's anything. Oh, we saw those. We saw Ace Frehley. Oh,
Hey
there's
guys, I have to hate to split. I got to get going. I got to run and do some errands.
I actually have to go too.
All right, boys.
all right, yeah, Craig, we're gonna have you on, buddy. So we'll discuss this all further when you come on.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's gonna be great.
Fantastic.
be
It's a
great.
pleasure, guys, to hang out with you. You guys are always fun. Jimmy, Tanner, Les Paul, and Johnny, we want to do a special shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm going to get John before we go to do a shout out to everybody, if that's okay. But I want to do a special shout out to Nelson for gifting some memberships to our channel. Really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you for that. Hit the notification button because we're going to be doing another show, obviously, with Craig. But we're going to be doing something with Chris Skill in the next couple of weeks as well. We're going to get Chris on to talk Van Halen. And that's never a bad show.
No.
Chris has always got a lot of information and a lot of thoughts and opinions. So
Most interesting man in the world. Chris Gill, he really is.
yeah. We're going to get him on. So again, folks,
fusion guitarist.
You got
Japanese fusion
and,
guitarist.
And a rockabilly. And he can play rockabilly too.
There you go.
Please subscribe to our channel, and if you want to be part of our channels page with your YouTube channel, let me know, and I'll attach your link to our channels page where people can go and subscribe. We ask if you've subscribed to our channel to go to that page and subscribe to all our friends. You'll find Jimmy's channel there. You'll find John there. Les Paul Gibson, I don't know if you're there with a YouTube channel. And Tanner, I'm not sure if you're there, but if you guys do have a YouTube channel, send me your link so I can attach you guys there. Fantastic. Johnny, you want to do a shout out?
Yeah, let me just say hi to a lot of people we missed in the chat. Simon Williams, Greg Roberts, Andy Carson. Hey, Andy, I know you just got in from work. I hope you're sitting back with a beer and watching us here. R2, R3 Locking Nut. I was just watching you on YouTube. I think you had the Friedman IRX, and I was listening to your review of it because I just ordered one. So so we'll be talking more about that. But I was watching the video, with R2. I think R3 Locking Nut. Let's see. Andy Carr, Simon Williams. Let's see who else did I miss? Who did I miss here?
Ryan, OU812 was there.
Brooks Reed. Let's see. Andy. Johnny Heartbreaker was here. Let's see. Christopher Live Sawa. Let's go Mets.
Quentin James.
Let's see. OU812. I think he was on the show, the YouTube video I was watching. Let's see. Eddie Van Hackett. Let's see. Brad Cook popped in there for a little while earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, bro.
Brad. And who else? Guitar Man 45. John Deshane. And I think Paulie Walnuts. Yeah, Paulie Walnuts was here too. That's right. Ryan Hall. Craig Stofko. Nelson Rodriguez. Nelson.
Yep.
And Craig Stofko. And I think we got it covered there. Thanks for everybody being here and listening to us for the last couple hours. And lawnmower tapes finally there at the end. Thanks for everybody watching. We appreciate it, and hope to see you back on the next one in a couple weeks. I'll turn it back to you, Andrew.
Kind of like there's a story.
Yeah.
A family named Van Halen. And they came from Pasadena and they're stoned or whatever.
Chris Gill, eh? All right, we're out here. See you guys later.
See you.